Maybe I'm back. You know, it's not starting well if we're already having problems. Oh, and we're going to refresh. Come on, please don't do this to me tonight. Or maybe that's when I disconnected. I think it is. Do we have volume? Oh, where's my mic? Lord, I am so not ready for anything. Hold on. Yep, there's volume. Okay. I think, are we actually ready to go? I'm abnormally tired. Ridiculously tired. So if I make no sense tonight, it's the being tired. Like, tired enough I considered maybe not doing the lecture. I don't even have my palette ready. Oh my gosh, I'm so behind on stuff. I don't even have my palette like set up to where you guys are going to see tonight, so I apologize for that. It's one of those days. Okay. I realized Monday night that I was behind on basically everything. So I had a list of stuff to do yesterday that was insanely long. I did actually get most of it done, but it put me a little bit behind on today. Okay, hold on. Let me clean up. I'm missing so many things right now. Let me just clean up my palette really quick, and we will be ready to go. I am recording. Thank you, guys. Wow, this acrylic paint in this, the palette that I have linked, I know you can't see it today, and I'm sorry for that. The palette that I have linked in the description is the new way, just using a glass palette. It's not just this one, but it sat inside of a Masterson's, like it seals it off like Tupperware. The paint, the last time I painted with this was Halloween. Yeah, this is all Halloween's paint, and it's all still wet besides the thin parts where I mixed color that I'm now scraping up. That is crazy. So, almost a month. I just need to clean that, and we're going to start. Luckily, most of these colors I need, so hopefully that won't take too much time. Mitchie said, with the ArtRage app you did your digital painting with, if you purchase it, then get a new device. Does it transfer over? Yes, it does. It works on any device. Really, any app that you buy. I'm assuming Apple's the same, but I know it would be weird to me if they weren't. I don't use Apple, so I can't say for certain, but I'm sure someone else can answer. But yeah, any of the, like with Android, if you buy an app, you've just got it. It's going to transfer to any new phone you get. I mean, it won't cross between Android and Apple if you switched back and forth that way. Okay. Wow, my palette was a bit of a mess. Okay, what do I need out? Let's get some more colors. Let me see. I think there was... Make sure you guys have any questions highlighted with... Is this color I want? That is not the color I want. Make sure you have if your question doesn't get highlighted with the @Lachri Fine Art in orange, I won't see it. Usually I won't see it. What other colors do I need here? I'm trying to think. Oh, no, I got that out. Oh, here we go. I really should have done this earlier. Like, I've been running late all day today on everything. Okay. So with this one, all the supplies I'm using tonight are listed below in the video description. If somebody asks, just link. You guys can feel free to answer for me and tell them that that's where everything is. Let's see. Okay. So this is the lion that I told you guys about before, where his mane and his tail is going to be built up of coral and like anemone and fish, more anemone than coral. Some mushrooms and stuff like that, just stuff that grows on live rock in the ocean. So that is what this guy is going to be. I'm going to start with his mouth. That's really what I'm going to focus on tonight. It may be tempting when you're painting and drawing something like this. One of the things that a lot of people miss when they paint pet portraits or wildlife is they skip over the mouth, or if the mouth is closed, like the little lips, or, you know, those areas that the dog is panting, they kind of like rush through that part. They put all their work into the fur and the eyes and not into, for some reason, the mouth and the inside of the ears get skipped over. Put some extra time into those because it will make a big difference in your end painting. Let's see. Evie said, speaking of which, I am starting to get into digital painting and now starting to love it. That's awesome. I love it. It drives me crazy. I'm on a bit of a rampage lately, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not rampage. But it drives me so crazy when people comment that digital art isn't real art. I don't know where that comes from. It's like, It's digital art. It's in the name. Digital painting. It's art. But whatever. People are dumb. My Thanksgiving was great. Thank you, Tamara. I just cooked a turkey. We actually didn't even eat it. Well, we ate it the next day. But my dog, one of my dogs is sick, and she decided that turkey sounded amazing, and that was the first day she started really eating again. So she ate a lot of the turkey. She's feeling way better now. The significance of Lachri, it's half my name, Lisa, and my sister's name, Christy, mixed together. The reference photo is multiple reference photos. Some are from Pixabay. Some are from my own reference photos. They're all over. Some I just kind of freehanded, or not freehanded, but like made parts up because I had to use so many different photos for this lion to get the, like I had in my head exactly what I wanted it to look like, and I couldn't find a good reference photo that was any of, like, all of that. So it's from multiple reference photos and just me kind of putting stuff together. Okay, do I have any art shows do I do any art shows in person? I have not in years. I actually just talked to an art gallery up in Frisco. We'll see how that goes. I don't know that my work is a fit for them because they sell mostly abstract. So it doesn't make sense for them to bring in an artist who doesn't do abstract. So we'll see. Possibly. They have some realism. But I guess I could actually focus on what I'm doing and pick a paintbrush, huh? Let's go with these guys. So what I'm going to start with on him, I'm just going to start blocking in where the inside of the mouth goes, the ridges and the teeth. I mean, it's drawn, but I'm going to kind of block in. It's going to basically look like a messy, messy flat cartoon, probably for all of tonight of what I'm working on. So let me mix some colors here. I don't care if any of the colors I have are exact or even close to exact. What I want is to get my values right. And so I am using the eyedropper tool. As I'm looking over here, my big desktop is over there. I'm doing the eyedropper tool to color match just to make sure, again, the color doesn't need to be exact. I want my values pretty close. So that's what I'm looking for there. And I'll probably let a little of the green show. We'll see. Let's see. Eric said, what brushes do you use for blending with the Mona Lisa for colored pencil? I use a Taklon bristled filbert is my main. I've got a couple of smaller flats and rounds, but the Taklon bristled filbert, I don't have it over here so I can't look. It's not a big brush, but that's the main one that I use there. And a lot of different brushes will work. That's just my usual go-to. Victoria said, I'm pretty young, but I wanted to start doing commissions. Should I do it or should I wait until I'm older? I'm 12 now. Want to make a commission with people on the internet. Make commissions. Okay. I think right now your focus should be perfecting your skills because 12, you're hitting that age where you're going to start getting really good. So that's awesome. I don't know that you necessarily need the stress of dealing with clients who aren't happy while you're still at this learning stage. I say give yourself a couple of years to really perfect, but work towards doing commissions. If that's something you want to do, work towards it. And I would say that one of your first goals right now is to build up a portfolio and build up consistency, because if you paint something, let's say you painted something today and then you painted something, or over the next couple of weeks you worked on it. And then your next project, if your next project is vastly, like way better than the first one, you're not ready. Wait till you're a little bit more consistent. I mean, we always want to constantly be getting better, but if you're at a point where every single thing you do is hugely better than the last, you're not quite there yet. Like, solidify your skills, or just get consistent so that when people buy something from you, they know what to expect. They know what you're doing. But I would say at your age, that isn't what I would really have someone your age focus on. I would have you focus on just continuously perfecting your skills. Now, if you want to sell your work, what I would say, finish paintings and then put those for sale on eBay, Etsy, whatever. If someone wants to buy those, great. They're seeing the finished product already. So you're not going to run into problems with clients who are like, this isn't what I thought I was going to get from you. I've told this story multiple times, but it's really valuable, I think, for anyone who wants to get into commissions. So I used to be on a dog forum for Italian Greyhounds, and there was this girl. Her mom was mainly on the forum. She barely ever posted anything, but there were quite a few of artists in the group, and they let us sell our work there, which was really convenient. Or, I got a lot of commissions that way, so that was great. But there was one girl, she did a colored pencil piece of my friend's dog, who, the friend was a photographer, like actually had the profession, and this is back before everyone had a DSLR, so, I mean, her photos were so much better than what most people were going to get. so she did this in colored pencil, and it was amazing. I mean, one of those things that you're just like jaw dropping. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. And another friend hired her to draw her dogs. Or paint her dogs. I think she ended up using a different medium. I don't know why. And she accepted a photograph that was like the dogs across there, but it was a horrible photograph. And so my friend was really angry because the quality of work was not consistent with what she had previously seen. She had one good one, but it wasn't the consistent quality. And that's really what you want to build up. That wasn't a reputation you'll want to get. The girl who got the bad painting was not happy. And she contacted me, and I'm like, show me the photo that you gave her. And I'm like, she should have never accepted that. I blame the artist for. The artist should have never accepted that photo to work from. She should have said, no, this isn't good. I need you to go get more photos. Which, for whatever reason, she didn't. And my friend was extremely unhappy as the customer. And this is something that part of me thinks that it's the artist was young. Well, not that young. She was in college. But I mean, she was younger. She hadn't been doing art for that long. I mean, long enough to be good, but not enough to be consistent in anything. She had some that were really good. Like I don't know if she just didn't know what reference photos would make for good paintings. I have no idea. But yeah, it left a really bad taste in that person's mouth, and then anyone who saw that was like, "Oh, I'm not hiring her." Then if she's not consistent. And so I would think at your age, consistency, work on improving your skill. That's a little bit more important. But if you have finished originals, feel free to sell those. I just wouldn't say jump into commissions just yet. No, there may be exceptions to that. I haven't seen where you're at, but that would be my advice. Okay, let's see. Oh, and scroll too far. The word of the live streams every week. The thing I say more than anything, I think. Sarah said, my former stepfather thought anyone who made art on a computer did so by pushing a button. And for a long time, I believed him because I didn't know any better. Yeah, and I think that that's part of the problem. And I was hoping that people who saw like the video I did where you can see I'm drawing just like I would on a pad of paper. It's the same thing, only all my tools are, it's digital. So I was hoping that in that video more people would see that before turning into tools in their comments. I blocked a couple of people. I just don't have any tolerance for people who are rude and declare themselves the god of what is or is not real art. Mara said, I just got a bunch of Windsor and Newton acrylics. I'm surprisingly pleased with them. Have you tried them? I have not. One of the main reasons that I stick with the Liquitex Basics is that they dry pretty matte, and just for the way I work with the airbrush and the layering process, it just works better for me. That and the way that they glaze. They're just a better fit for me there. But I actually want to do some more of Goldens. Let's see. Pay attention to where I'm at on this. I'm missing some of the things I'm probably going to need in here. Wait, this curves around. My line drawing is not quite right. There we go. I think that's all black. Okay. I want to try some of the Goldens because they were telling me they're medium. They have a matte medium. If you add a bit of that, it'll make the paint flat. So I want to give that a try. Maya said, waiting for more airbrush videos. I have one I need to edit because I did the project. Now I need to edit it. So that should hopefully be soon. I did some airbrushing on this one too. That's how I did the background. Shannon said, as far as copyright is concerned, when do you compile different pics? Does copyright come into play? Yes, it does. Copyright always comes into play. If it's not your photo, you don't have permission to use it, don't use, well, okay, I should take that back. It doesn't come into play. Like, let's say I was like, hey, I'm painting a Labrador. Somebody gave me a photo of their lab. I'm using the outline, but I can't see the detail in the fur, how that texture looks. I can look at a photo. I'm not copying it. I can look at it, somebody's photo that's copyrighted to get an idea of what the fur looks like, but I'm not copying it, if that makes sense. But I couldn't like, I'm going to draw from this. I'm going to copy, something that ends up being a problem, especially if the person finds out about it. Yeah, there's a really bad myth out there that a lot of, I'm going to throw some of the black in because I am like losing my place. There's a myth of if you change 30%, 15%, 20%, there's all kinds of percentages out there. If you change a certain percentage, then it's an original and you don't have to worry about copyright. And it is absolutely not true. The law does not say that at all. We actually, on the Colored Pencil podcast, you can probably still look it up over on sharpenedartist.com, but we did an interview with a copyright lawyer and she was saying, she's like, there's no such thing. I mean, we knew that, but it was nice hearing an actual lawyer go, no, that is not how that works. She even said, she's like, I don't even know where that started, but no, there is no, you can change this much and not get in trouble with copyright. Let's see. Art by MB, said, how do you wash out your acrylic brushes? My brushes always end up with bristles flared, and it's so frustrating. Okay, so with your paint brushes, it's actually a good question. I can actually stop right now. When you rinse your brushes, try not to get your paint built up too much right here. If that paint builds up, that's what's going to start. It starts to harden and it starts to just flare. Or fray. The other thing is you don't want your brushes sitting in, like you have your cup of water. Don't let it sit in there. That's going to cause them to fray really bad. But what I do is I rinse them, and then if I feel like I didn't get all the paint out, there's a product called the Old Masters. Something like that. It's on my website. If you go to the supply list there, it's linked. But that's a brush cleaner and conditioner that's wonderful. And I'll use that with warm water, not hot water, because it can melt the glue and the bristles supposedly can fall out. Although I've never had it happen. I've used hot water. They say don't do it though. But that's how you're going to clean it. But try as you're painting. Don't let it keep building up here. And constantly, like right now, I wanted to stop and talk for a second. Don't just set the brush to the side and let it set. Rinse it out if you're not currently using it. You never want to let that set on there. Amanda Jackson said, how do you feel about watercolor pencils? I've been working with acrylics, but I want to do watercolors. What do you like best? Oh my gosh. Okay, acrylics are kind of my all-time favorites, but watercolor pencils are amazing. I have the Derwent watercolor, which I loved. Those are more watercolor feeling to me than the other ones that I have are the Caran d'Ache, their Museum Aquarelle. Those ones are also amazing. Those are more opaque. Those ones are more gouache-like to me, but those are also really, really nice. I will hopefully be trying the Faber-Castell. They have a watercolor pencil as well, so I want to try that soon. And they've got great reviews. I'm sure those are good too. But yeah, those are really, really fun. I really enjoy working with them. There's a little bit of a learning curve. For me, it was easy to transfer or get used to going over to those just because I've been working with Inktense for so long, and they are similar in a lot of ways in how you control them. A little bit different in how you're going to layer, but there's a lot of similarities there. So I didn't have a hard time in this case, this time switching from acrylics over into watercolor pencil, but in the past, I did because I didn't know how to control watercolor, or ink, because I had never used Inktense. So it took a little bit for me to get. Wait, that's not coming out right. See, I'm super tired. Super tired. Nothing's coming out right. It was easier for me this time because I'd already learned to use Inktense. When I tried watercolor before, I hadn't, and it was harder. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't make sense. I'm too tired. Whoops, scroll too far. Thanks, Marcel. Mara said, being a minor, even in art, how could that 12-year-old do a binding contract for commissions? Just a thought. And that may be a thing too. Parents would have to be involved. There's going to be, that is also a potential problem. But I mean, I've known of kids who got involved in that, and it definitely depends on the kid's skill level, and the parents should be involved in whatever is going on there. Hi, Roshan. Okay, scrolling. Fabs and Draws says, is there a way to construct a portfolio? I don't even know what you're asking. Constructive what? Sarah said, I can remember times I've been doing traditional art. Whoops. Oh, when I wish I had an undo button. Yeah, that undo button with digital is amazing. There have been times where I'll have been, spent hours and hours painting digitally, and I'll go and work on something that's traditional media, and my brain kind of stops or stutters because it wants to do undo, and it's not a possibility, and I came in too far. Let's see, this is going to right about, I think, here. I got a little too happy with this black. Let's pull some of that out. Let's see, it's actually tongue up a little, somewhere about here. Just trying to keep my place. It doesn't matter that the black is there when I go over with the fur on the part of the face, because the coral isn't going to start till the mane. I could have fixed that, but the reason I'm putting the black in right now is just I'm trying to mark out or map out where everything's going to go before I start putting in actual details. Zara's Pet Portraits and Wildlife Art said, have you tried the Pablo pencils from Caran d'Ache? I've seen a lot of artists use them with polychromos and luminance pencils and wondered how they work with them. I like them on sanded paper with my powder blender. I don't like them for anything else. The Pablos are pretty much like, if you've used the Prismacolor Very Thins, They're very similar to that. And so if you like the Prismacolor Very Thins, then you would probably really like the Pablos. I hated Prismacolor Very Thins, not because they were Prismacolor. Like, even when I used Prismacolor, I hated the Very Thins. They just, they don't work for my techniques at all. And that's not to say there's something wrong with the Very Thins or something wrong with the Pablos. It's just a difference in how I work. So they're just not a fit for me. But on sanded paper with powder blender, oh my gosh, I loved them. Not for blending with powder blender, but for final details because they're so small. I actually like them for that. So I may end up getting a set for that, but I doubt I would end up using it much for when I blend with OMS. And it's not that they can't be blended with OMS or work that way. I know so many artists who use them and love them for that. They're just not for me. Arts with Ryan said, would you ever try watercolor as is instead of the pencil? Yes, I want to get some watercolor sets because I'm definitely, the more I use them, or like the more I've used watercolor pencils, the more, like, I wish that I had a block like the Inktense blocks. I wish that I had that with the watercolor pencils. So yes, I probably will definitely end up getting some watercolors. Feel free to let me know which ones you guys like. I need light fast. Amanda said, yes, it makes sense. Good, because it doesn't make sense in my head right now. Nothing is making sense to me right now. Like, I feel like I've been drinking and I haven't. Like, that level of tired where you're just like, your brain's really slow. Let's see. Now, if I get something in here in the wrong place, it is not a big deal. It is not something that I'm going to stress out about. I just want to get a general idea of where some of this goes. Like, I don't even have this drawn out right. As I'm going, I'm like, wow, I missed a lot of stuff when I was drawing. Let's see, you come in here. But getting this black in here is going to make it easier for me to find some of the other areas. That's where the fur goes. Okay. Steve said, please explain what gouache is. One artist stream, he said he already gouache his canvas. My question, what is it and why did he do that? I don't know. I'm guessing he was probably doing like a grounds. Maybe, is that what he meant? Where you stain it basically first before you start painting. Some artists will do that. I guess you could do it with gouache. I've never have. Gouache is, I don't know, the easiest way to think of it, it's kind of somewhere in between water, or at least this is what I think of, that other people may argue, because I don't have a ton of experience with gouache, so keep that in mind. But it seemed like somewhere between acrylics and watercolor. Like, it wasn't quite, it was thinner, like, it wasn't as thick as acrylics, it wasn't as thin as watercolor. I don't know, that's what it felt like to me. But I don't know, like, the ingredients and what it's made out of or anything like that. I've not spent much time with them at all. Let's see. Fabsome Draw says, I'm considering going to take Fine Art University. So is there any type of general advice for portfolio making? I didn't go to school, so, I mean, I went to school, but not to college. You want to talk to somebody at the school, ideally, or at the school you're currently going to. Go talk to the art teacher there and have them help you to figure out what they're looking for in those portfolios. But I don't want to give you bad advice, so you definitely want your best. I would say for sure, don't, and I think this is good advice for anyone, like with your website and such. I just did this to my own. I see people, our artists will have a website, and the artist's work is really, really good sometimes. But they've also included stuff, I don't know if it was older or what just wasn't a very strong piece. When you're putting together a portfolio or putting together your website, the gallery section, if you were to show somebody someone randomly picked one of those paintings and that was the only painting of yours they saw, are you going to be proud of it? Do you feel that that painting represents you well enough? If not, pull it. Don't include it. Same thing I would say with a portfolio. Make sure that everything you include, it's easy to want to include everything you've ever painted. I used to do this with my gallery. Like, I'll just put everything in there. And, well, part of it just got too much to manage because I have thousands of paintings and drawings. But you don't want to include stuff that isn't your best. And I don't mean, okay, I only have one painting that's my best. No, you want more than that. But I've seen people where they've got 50 paintings and you look through and you're like, well, I would honestly pull 15 to 20 of these are really amateur. They're not the quality even close to the same quality as some of the other paintings. So, I mean, that would be one tip I could give you on a portfolio is just make sure that everything that you include, you don't want a ton. Usually they used to tell you like 10 or under, they'll tell you how many they want, but you make sure it's your best and not just something as a filler. Don't use the fillers. That's not impressive. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Arts with Ryan. I guess I could just call you Ryan, huh? Tamara said, thanks for the live streaming, even though you're tired. I was watching so many rerun videos last week. I know, I feel really guilty when I don't live stream. I almost didn't do it last week. One of my dogs is really sick, and so I'm kind of like moping around and like, I don't want to do anything. And then it was Thanksgiving, and I was like, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to mope around and continue to try to get my dog to eat. And turns out I just had to make her a turkey. And steroids do wonders. She's doing much better. But yeah, I felt guilty though. I always feel guilty if I don't do the live streams. Let's have fun hanging out with you guys. I feel like you skip a week of missing like hanging out with your friends when I don't do live streams. Is it weird or funny to anybody else how much you feel like you know people just from the internet? I mean, like, heck, my best friends, 3 of the people I like talk to the most, I've never even met in person. It's so funny how that works. But like, even when I live stream, I'm like, oh, I'm missing my friends. I don't like to. Melissa says, I truly love your work. You do amazing work. Thank you for doing this. Even super tired. Oh, thank you. As long as you guys don't mind me stumbling over my words, we can get through it. Phyllis said, will you be finishing critiques on the art we posted on Facebook? Yes, I need to do that. Actually, I was tempted to do that tonight, but I really needed to get this guy started because I've been putting off starting him forever. I don't know if you guys, I do this all the time. It's starting a painting is the worst for me. When that canvas is white, I'm excited. I mean, there's so many possibilities because it's like, yay, white canvas. But just taking those first few steps, and I'm like, I need to take those steps tonight. I need to get this going. So yeah, we're going to be doing that critique within the next few weeks probably. We'll do another one. Let's see. Oh, stop being weird. My thing is not scrolling right. Tatiana wants to know what I am painting on. It is a Frederick's Belgian linen canvas. It's a 24 by 36, so it's really big. I just posted a photo of it last night on Instagram, so you can see like the whole canvas there. And just for transparency, I am sponsored by Frederick's, so I don't get myself in any trouble. Let's see. Susan's Creative said, I know what you mean about getting to know people. I jump on live streams all the time, and I've met some awesome folks. Some in real life now. Yeah, I've met some people in real life that I knew from like playing video games. I've actually met quite a few of my friends that I've played or we used to play Warcraft together. So that was always real. I was lucky that I didn't have any weird like creepy experiences, which I know some people have had. Like they were all, I mean, I'd known the guys for years, so it wasn't likely to be too weird, and they knew my husband. But yeah, I've met some really cool people that way. These are going to have to be, these teeth here will have to be reshaped, but just kind of getting an idea of where they're going to go. Kathleen, scroll too far. Oh, there we go. Kathleen said, yes, one of my dearest friends is a woman I met over 10 years ago on the internet. We still never met in person. Yeah, the same, I mean, I have, yeah, friends I talk to, so we text constantly or we talk on the phone or, you know, all the time. It's funny. Brett said, I feel like I know you just from watching you, every video you post. I feel like I know you from you chatting in live streams and commenting on the videos. Sabrina said, actually met my fiance online, knew each other for 3 years before getting together, engaged 5, known 8, so not weird at all. That's so cool. Art by MB said, do you prefer to use a long-handled or short-handled brushes when you paint with acrylics? Long-handled. Well, okay, long-handled meaning like this is fine and this is fine. I don't need, you know, I've seen it really long, but not short-handled because you don't have as much control. And that's why, unless I'm doing teeny little things, I may hold up here. But normally, you're going to see me hold my hand here or even back further sometimes, depending on, like, when I get into doing the brush strokes. You're going to have more control with getting a natural movement for the brush. If you're up close, your brush strokes are going to be so stiff and unnatural looking. Now, when it's a tiny little brush stroke like what I'm doing here, I don't need a line right there. I shouldn't have done that. But when I'm doing the little stuff like here, I can hold hold a little bit closer. I'm making these, you know, they're kind of harsher marks where those teeth are going to go. But when I am doing like the fur and I need longer brush strokes, I need to back my hand up. So I definitely would not want a short bristled brush. Put another coat. That is the unbleached titanium white, although the light makes everything look super overexposed. Now, one of the tips I have for you when you're painting with acrylics, like I just did the tooth there, I don't want to do little brush stroke, little brush stroke, little brush stroke. It will look like I have like a furry tooth. I don't want a furry tooth. One long brush stroke whenever possible so that you get that nice, smooth outer edge. The tooth of that tooth is not shaped right. I'll fix it later. Nothing on this is shaped right now. Let's see. Arts with Ryan, who I need to remember just to call right, said, are you going to do a video about gift ideas for an artist? I thought about it, but I don't think I'll get it done and edited in time. But if you look at the Colored Pencil podcast, we just did a podcast, and there should be links to, oh, we had a lot of ideas there. So that one would probably be the only one that'll be up this year. I'm so behind on everything right now. I don't see me getting anything, adding anything to, like, just getting what I have already done edited is a big deal right now. Like, seriously, so behind. Okay, I'm going to block in on top of the black some of the highlights. And see how it's messy? And as I keep layering and layering, it's going to tighten up every layer. Like, it'll just get more and more exact. Don't think that because you have paint on the canvas, you're done. You're not. You need lots of layers to make it look good. Tamara said, sorry to hear about the studio assistant not feeling well. Hopefully it will pass quickly. My own dog has been changing what he eats lately. It's driving us crazy. Hang in there. Unfortunately, they think she has bone marrow cancer. So yeah, she's probably, we're just making her as comfortable as possible at this point. But she's eating because of the prednisone and the appetite stimulant. So she's not starving herself anymore, which is a bonus. But yeah, she's, I don't think she'll get better. Like, she's feeling better, but unfortunately, she's not, it's not going to get cured in most. We're also treating her. We're hoping, the dog vet said, well, it could be like an autoimmune disorder from like a tick-borne illness, but that's super unlikely because she's indoors all the time. And I don't take them anywhere where they're like exposed to anything, and she has pretty much no hair, or almost no hair on an Italian Greyhound. So I would have, the chances of her having had a tick and me not seeing it, I mean, possible, but not super likely. So I don't want to get my hopes up there, but she is feeling better. And like last night and the night before, she's like prancing around. She's playing and doing her little play bows, and which she hadn't done in a couple of months. So the prednisone, if nothing else, she's definitely feeling better, which is a big deal because I don't want her to not feel well. I talked to just like getting prepared because we knew my next dog after the two. I don't want more than 2 dogs at a, well, we can't have more than 2 at a time anyway in the apartment, but I don't want more than 2 dogs at a time. So I like to have a small number and give them all the attentions. But I talked to the Greyhound Rescue. So my next studio assistant, whenever that time comes, we're going through the application process and we'll do the home visit soon. I already did the application, but we'll do the home visit. I went and talked to them on Sunday. So that will be my next studio assistant, but hopefully, I'm hoping Jessie, I mean, she's doing good right now, so hopefully she'll do good. I'm going to keep saying hopefully because it's a good word, and I'm tired. I think that's probably why I've not been sleeping. I keep stressing myself out over what's going on there. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's why. So see here, I'm just starting to get some of these highlights, building them. It's not exact. Actually, the shape isn't even right. But we're just a little bit here and there. Just keep building until it looks good. And if you have a bad layer, don't freak out. You didn't ruin anything. Just layer until it looks good. Acrylics are very forgiving that way. I missed a bunch of questions. Hold on, scrolling up. Sarah said, there are people I watch here on YouTube who I think I could be friends with if they knew I existed. That's funny. Gabriel said, well, I know you exist. Gabriel said, which brushes do you prefer for finer details at the end of a painting? Usually I switch over to, I'll show you one right now, a synthetic hog hair liner brush. This one's a number 2. It's a wonderful, like just a nice size. And you want these nice long bristles so that you can get that tiny little detail. But these are my favorite. This one is the Master's Touch. It's the generic from Hobby Lobby. I don't typically like generic art supplies, but except for paintbrushes. Those I love. Scrappy Cat Meyer said, I have every Wednesday scheduled for the next year so that I don't make plans. Even my family refers to Lisa as the chicken lady. They also ask me every week if I saw chicken. You know what I'm actually going to do? I need to mess around with the settings because it makes it hard to edit. Where I had, what was this? Basement Billy, the pop-ups on the video. I want to do some where chicken replies to him. So chicken can have his own profile. I think I don't know. I think it'll be hilarious. Maybe my sense of humor is just weird because I'm tired, or just weird because I'm me. But yeah, chicken wants to be involved in that. That's funny though. Claire said, hello Lisa, this is my first live stream. I love big cat painting. Sounds like a very creative composition you're starting. Can't wait to see more. Me either. I'm excited about this one. I hope it comes out good. Sometimes I'll do a full like design in Photoshop to get an idea of what something's going to look like. And I did not do that here. I'm just like jumping in. Could be a bad idea. I don't know. I'll make it work. And the funny thing is with the right lighting and the right like contrast, composition, all that, if you get that right, it doesn't even matter what your subject is. You can make it look good. So even if what I'm doing today is really weird, or not today, but you know, this whole painting when it's done, even if it comes out super weird, as long as I can get the right lighting, make the lighting interesting is going to be a big thing. Get the contrast in there. I can make it work. Whether or not it's weird, that's, you know, a different situation. But there's no reason, no matter how weird or odd the design, let's say you wanted to do a still life. It may seem boring, but if you do a lot, I know I used to always think still lifes were boring and now I love them. But if you get your lighting and your contrast and all of that, your composition otherwise right, even though the subject may not be the most exciting, you can make it seem kind of exciting just based on that. So hopefully I can pull this off given that theory. Thanks, Janice. Well, the well-loved part for her is not a problem. She is definitely well-loved. The comfortable part is what I'm focusing on right now. And she gets all the treats and all. You should see right now, over their crate, I have this basket that I keep cookies in. Well, she's decided, now she's actually eating her real meals too, thank God. But she went for a few days there where she only wanted to eat cookies. And I'm like, you know what? The dog, she just needs to eat at this point. So whatever, you can have whatever you'll eat. So I've bought so many because they had the Cyber Monday or Black Friday, whatever sales this weekend. We went to the pet stores and they had like buy 2, get 1 free. I have so many cookies right now for them. It looks like a pet store over their crate. So we also got them a Furbo. And okay, let's be realistic. I got me a Furbo because I think it's like way too amusing to keep checking on my dogs, even though I work from home and I hardly ever leave the house. Whatever. But we keep giving them cookies out of that too, or the treats we're having. Well, Echo thinks this is a blast. Echo's not even sick. But yeah, keeping them happy and comfortable, or keeping her happy and comfortable, is definitely a priority right now. Let's see. Oh, I missed a bunch of questions. Thank you, Gail. Aaron said, how do you choose your canvas size? For instance, do you choose to go bigger or smaller depending on the subject you're painting? Yeah, definitely. For me, that usually is the reason that I'll decide to go bigger or smaller, because like this one, I have so many things I want to include. I need bigger. Even I think a 30 by 40 inch may have even been a better choice. For me, then this one's a 24 by 36, but it's a lot. I don't think I have anything bigger than this here right now. So I probably need to order some bigger canvases. This one could have gone bigger and I think worked. I would have been able to fit even more detail. So as big as this is, I still feel semi-limited. So imagine trying to paint this on a 16 by 20. No, that would not be fun. So yeah, the size of the canvas has a lot to do with what I'm going to be painting. I'll usually put, normally, I didn't on this one, but normally I'll come up with the design in Photoshop and try the design on different size canvases, like different dimensions, to see, okay, does 11 by 14 look better, or does a long, thin canvas look better? Like, that is one way that I'll do too. Art by MD said, are you using hog hair brushes to smooth out your strokes? I am. Well, it's I think these are considered a hog hair. It's just a generic stiff round. It's more stiff because I don't wash them intentionally, so they get even more stiff. They're a little too soft for me when I first get them. But, I mean, I wash them. I just don't do a good job. So, yeah, I think some websites will call these synthetic hog hairs, and some will call them other things. But, yeah, it's just, I call them stiff round brushes. Jenna said, have you decided to stop offering original art for sale on your website as a general rule? Or might you start selling originals through Lachri.com again? Well, I still have the original for the week. That's what I'm going to focus on. Because what I was finding is there's so many things on there that stuff just, it doesn't, first, most people don't even know it was there, but I wasn't getting the sales that way. And it was getting a little bit harder to manage when I'm like, okay, I need to change prices on something, or I need to adjust this or that. And to do it on all of them at the same time, it was just too much. So I've got the where I'm just promoting one a week. I don't know if that'll work out long term. We're just giving it a try and seeing how that goes. But if there was a painting that I have that you're interested in, just message me and I'll let you know if I've still got it. Or send me an email. So, like, I mean, it's not like I won't sell them to you or anything. I just don't want to have them all listed now. It's a bit too much to maintain when I want to make changes. And I want to really focus on that one per week. Gabriel said, thanks. You are welcome. Jenna said, I've been eyeing a few things. Oh, I've been eyeing a few things. Let me know what they were, and I can reactivate those items for you. So if they're, just message me, and I'll let you know if they're still there. They probably are, since I took them down. No one else knows they're there, so I probably still have them. Let's see. Nick said, my 14-year-old Aussie is going through pretty much exactly the same thing. Although Lyme disease or Lyme is suspected. She's lost so much weight. Oh, I'm sorry. Is she on prednisone or steroids? I know that, I cannot believe what a difference that has made on her. She's on antibiotics in addition to that, but I think it's really the steroid that seems to make the biggest difference, or she seems to be doing so much better. She's still a little wobbly. She still can't go up and down the stairs on her own, but she definitely otherwise feels better. She's way more alert too, which makes me happy, because she had gotten to where she was just like, I'm going to sleep all the time. Please just let me sleep. But now she's coming out and following me around again and being all cute and happy, and the tail is going constantly. So, let's see. Steve said, does gesso really make a big difference? When do you decide to use it? If you do. Okay, so all the canvases that I buy, or, well, now that I work with Fredericks, that I get from Fredericks, they're all pre-gessoed. The only time that I'm going to gesso a canvas at this point is if I get a canvas, like this is super, super smooth. The Belgian linen are, oh, they're so nice. They're so smooth. Great for detail and getting smooth blending. But the only time that I'm going to gesso a canvas is if I have like my Fredericks Convexo canvases are a great example. Their tooth texture is more like the Fredericks Red Label, which is not as smooth as I like. So if I put a coat of gesso on that, I can then sand it down and create a smoother surface. So I can work with a canvas that is rougher, but still has the, otherwise, like the Convexo canvases are so unique the way they've got the beveled edges. So I can kind of fix it so it's smooth like this. That's the only time I gesso it. If you buy a canvas that is ungessoed, then you have to gesso it. Otherwise the paint, oops, hit the thing. Otherwise the paint is just gonna like soak in. It's not gonna set right. You want, if it's unfinished, like, or unprimed canvas, gesso it. But all of these, like this was already gessoed when I bought or got it. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Stalin, the Clamflight. I'm using it now. I love it too. It's so nice, like I can see everything. It's so, so nice. Let's see. Dang it, it scrolled too far and I missed a bunch of questions. There we go. Okay. Ursi said, I like the pose of the lion. It's Stellar Gastic. I don't know that word, but thank you. I feel a little dumb now. I'm going to blame that I'm tired. Michelle said, new patron here. I've been painting with acrylics and want to try oil. Do you have a recommended video that will walk me through everything I need? Yes. The green apple. I have the video on Patreon. That should have the voiceover. But I have the video here that was like step by step. Here are the supplies. This is how I wash my brushes. This is how everything there. But the green apple I think is such a good first painting. And welcome. Michelle said, my profession is lighting design, so it makes me happy how much you talk about the importance of lighting. Lighting changes everything. Like my apartment, I can never get a good photo at night, but my apartment is gorgeous because the lighting I set up in there, like I've got a light behind, I have a big, huge pothos that's like, it's a type of plant that's pretty much as tall as I am. I have a light behind it, behind the pot, so you don't see the light, you just see the light coming. It is gorgeous if you set up your lighting around that right. So I've got quite a few things like that throughout my apartment with this kind of, I don't know, the lighting makes such a big difference. So I love your profession. It can completely change the feel of a room, like by adjusting the lighting. Let's see, what do I want to work on right now? I kind of have most of this blocked in. I guess I can start getting some of the shadows on the roof of the mouth. There's a lot of ridges on the roof of the mouth I need to work on. Let me mix some paint here. Well, I do that actually. Tamara said, I refer to you as my art mentor friend. Feels like I know you after all this time. Good luck with Jessie. Thank you. Sending you all healing and peace prayers. I appreciate that. I really, really do. Erin said, how do you manage to talk and paint at the same time? Apparently not. I can't. I'm like scrolling through instead of mixing color right now. Practice. I've been teaching for, well, when did I start teaching? In 1999, I think. So I've been teaching a long time where I had to explain what I was doing as I worked. So that is pretty much how I do that. I mean, just practice. Plus, it's me. I never shut up anyway. Ask my husband. I like to talk. Actually, it's not even that I have to talk. As long as somebody's talking. I hate silence. Somebody needs to talk. Let's see. Art by MB said, sorry about all the questions. No, don't apologize. I'm glad for your questions. But what are you using to live stream? I know you use a video camera Canon, which I have. Do you have something else to get online? For online, the Canon I can't stream through. My laptop can't. I got a link, external thing for it. It just causes my computer to stop working, basically. Ooh, that is way not dark enough. I'm using the Logitech. It should be linked in the description. I think it's linked in the description. If it's not, it should be linked in some of my past live streams. I don't remember if I got it on this one. But I was in such a rush trying to get the live stream set up last night when I put it together. But it's a Logitech I don't know. There are better options out there, though. I will tell you that. I want to upgrade. I just need to save a bit first. They're not terrible cameras, but they're not the best. Like what you're seeing on the screen, well, I'm zoomed in, but it looks more smooth than what I'm seeing. Like you're not getting the same level of detail as what I see here or what the Canon gets. So, I mean, for a live stream, it's a live stream. It's fine, but there are definitely better cameras out there. I know Valerie had suggested one to me. It's still saved in my wish list on Amazon. So I bet if you ask her nicely, she'll tell you what it is. I don't remember what it is right now. Thank you, DJ. Clary said, I hope this isn't too personal, but how many original paintings, drawings do you tend to sell in a year? You know, not many. I'd say under 5 because I don't tell anybody about them. I don't push them. The only time they sold is if, and I'm not, I sometimes have stuff up at the Frisco, their City Hall. But I mean, most of the time it's like it was at the bottom of my website. Nobody knew, very few people, apparently some of you guys did, but very few people knew that I sell stuff. I'm really bad about trying to promote the stuff that's for sale. So I've got a friend who's helping me work on that a bit more, but, or I guess friend / virtual assistant, but yeah, so not that many. I used to sell more when I sold on like eBay and I actually like advertised that I was doing stuff, or when I did commissions. I used to actually do more commissions than anything else. But since I pretty much started focusing on YouTube, I didn't have time to do both marketing the artwork and trying to get stuff listed on eBay and get all of that and do YouTube. And it was like, okay, which one do I want to focus on right now? And so I decided to go with YouTube, but that means I'm not really focused. Like I said, not focusing on selling stuff so much as I used to. So lately, like I said, it's probably, I'd say 5, and not just people who happen to be looking at my website and realize something was for sale. You can't just, and this is just a good tip for you guys, if you are selling your work, you can't just put it on your website and expect it to sell. Yeah, you'll sell a few, you're not going to sell many. And it doesn't, like, I get a lot of traffic to my website, but I don't push the artwork. I don't push that stuff is for sale enough. So, how many lines are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, we'll say 3, 4, 5. Okay, I don't want to do too many here. I'm getting out of control with the ridges on the mouth. But yeah, I used to sell a lot more though. When I listed stuff on eBay than just on my website too. That made a big difference. And I used to do Etsy occasionally. I didn't do as well on Etsy or with Etsy because I don't like their, well, not because I don't like it. I don't like their search stuff because of this. Their search function, you have to constantly relist the item so it comes up newer on the search. Whereas eBay, if an item was older, that would pop up first. So, or you could search by what was most recent. Like you have the option to change that. And I don't know if Etsy's changed that, but back when I was selling artwork or trying to sell originals that way in prints, Etsy, you just get lost because if you're not constantly relisting the item, which gets very expensive, you were not going to be found in the search engines. It was only the newest post that got seen. Well, that and Etsy was filled with mass-produced crap from China, like the artwork that was, well, mass-produced, not like original artwork, but yeah. So you did not get found easily there. Well, in general, I mean, the stuff on Etsy was supposed to be handmade, like original type stuff. You'd have a lot of like this mass-produced wedding dress stuff from China would constantly, like that was an example of something. And people turned them in because it was a violation of Etsy's terms of service, and Etsy didn't care. They just cared about making the money, and they never did anything about it. So I don't have a ton of respect for the way Etsy does stuff. I buy stuff from there. I just don't bother trying to sell from there. Anyway, that was a tangent that had nothing to do with, well, sort of related to your question. Seriously, I'm tired. I'm rambling. Where's Basement Billy? Because I'm sure he could leave a comment about that. Janice said, good to know, thanks. Oh, that just scrolled too far. Why? Why do you... this is one thing I wish wasn't the case. I guess YouTube doesn't expect someone to like try to answer every one, but I try to keep the question where whoever was the last question I answered, so it's always way behind the stream, and it keeps wanting to bounce it to the bottom newest question. But then I miss questions. Jenna says, good to know. Thanks, I have to wrestle with letting myself spend the money now. God's Girl 777 said, any advice for a high school student who wants to teach art as a future career? Well, figure out how you want to teach it, because there are like... You can teach it whether you want to go to other high school kids, to colleges, or teach like what I did out of Michael's and Hobby Lobby and my own personal classes. That was the majority of what I was teaching. I also did the drink wine while you paint classes. Those were fun. But that wasn't really teaching. I was just walking people through how to finish a painting. But you have to figure out where you want to go with that. If you're getting into like teaching for a school district, you are going to be a little bit more limited on what your potential earnings are going to be. Whereas if you teach your own classes, you have the potential to make a lot more than through a school district, but the school districts are going to be more stable income and have benefits and things that you're not going to have if you work on your, you're going to want to look into how you want to teach, because if you want to go into a school district, you're going to need to get a degree. So those are things that you need to look into. See if you've got art teachers in your area, whether they work for the schools or they're teaching their own classes, and see if they can spend some time talking to you about it. So that you can kind of get a better idea of which route you would rather go. There's definitely pros and cons to each. You just have to find out what's a better fit for you. Michelle said, I now work in film lighting, and the biggest tell for CGI is bad lighting. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. I so know what you're talking about. Part of our lighting design class was actually to find a realism painting and explain the light source. One of the things that I misunderstood so much about lighting earlier, I felt, okay, you have a single light source, and for some reason it didn't make sense to me. I wasn't understanding for years. That light source, even if you have one light source, it's going to bounce. It'll hit one area, bounce up, and be casting a more muted highlight on another area. So maybe the light's coming from up here, but it's bouncing down on what's going to be below, water reflection, and that would then bounce. You'd have a lighter reflection, not as bright as here, but you would have a little bit of that light hitting here. And that was something that took me a while to really understand. Getting a grasp of lighting, it just changed it. It can change the feel of everything. Rich said, sorry, I'm late. Now I gotta eat dinner. Well, enjoy your dinner. Let's see. AKB said, I started my art journey like 2 weeks ago. I want to one day create realism, and I'm starting with drawing fundamentals. Is realism too lofty a goal for beginners? Thank you in advance. Absolutely not. Start now. Start advanced. If you want to be advanced, jump into the advanced stuff. If you want to forever stay a beginner, stick with stuff for beginners. Now, I don't have a problem. I even have beginner videos. Start with a beginner video for your first painting or drawing, or 2 or 3. and then jump into the most advanced stuff you can find. Yeah, your work's not going to be as good as the advanced stuff you're copying or working from, but you're going to learn more from that than continuously painting beginner stuff. You keep if you want to stay a beginner, follow beginner tutorials. If you want to advance, jump into the advanced stuff. And realism is going to do that for you for sure. Gail said, yeah, Etsy has raised their fees. Not worth it anymore. Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't looked to list anything there in forever. Etsy does really well for people who kind of build a following to where people already know who they are versus somebody like just jumping in. Like for me, it wouldn't make as much sense because, or do as well for me because I don't have a following on Etsy. I haven't sold anything on there in years. So it would be a little bit harder for me than somebody like some people I know of who sell and do really well with it, but they've built their own following. I mean, I guess it's kind of like YouTube, trying to be discovered on YouTube. Once you build that following, then it's going to be easier to get the views. But Etsy, I definitely am not one of, I've not built that up. So it's not going to work as well for me anyway. I mean, it could. You could build it, but if I list, I'll just list on eBay. Sarah Mixart said, I read someone say in the comments of a video once that her friend reached 100,000 subscribers. She started giving her the cold shoulder. That's another reason for not getting caught up in the numbers. Wow, that's weird and unfortunate. Rich said, I'm so happy that I got polychromos, but I only got 6. Hey, 6 is better than none. That's a start. You can add more to that as time goes. Thanks, Melissa. Tamara said, I really like the beginning of your digital painting video. Was your hubby filming you walk into the coffee shop? Beautiful work as usual. Yeah, he was. And it's so funny. He's super uncomfortable. Like, I don't care if I look like a dork sitting in Starbucks recording. And I'm only using my GoPro, so it's little. So, like, we're not in there with big cameras being all obnoxious or anything. It's just, you know, setting the camera on the table. But even, like, following me and walking, or at one point, I'm, like, having him hold the camera. I'm, like, he's sitting across from me and holding it up like this. And I'm like, no, higher, no, to the side. And he was getting so embarrassed. Because he's so, I don't know why. I guess he's more worried about what people think. Because being on YouTube, you have to stop worrying so much about what people think. But he was definitely, it's still very weird to him. Or when I've done, like, quick little vlog things, he's definitely, like, when I'm talking to the camera, standing in a busy area talking. I did that or I wasn't even talking. It was when I did the GoPro, when I got the GoPro 7 on, what was that? For my Instagram stories. I made him take the video of it, of me, like, jumping up and down all excited. He patted me and said, good job, sister, or something like that. Like I was his derpy sister instead of his wife. I'm like, oh my gosh, Matt, stop it. But yeah, let's see. Sarah said, do you have any thoughts on the rule of odds? No, I don't. Here's my thought on rules. They can benefit you. And sometimes you need to break them. Sometimes it's going to look better if you don't follow the rules. Same thing with like the rule of thirds. Yeah, usually I probably would say I follow the rule of thirds more often than not. But there are times that it's going to look better if I just center something. That isn't in the rule of thirds at all, but it just balanced better. So anytime you get into any of the rules, I would say know the rules. I mean, know what you generally want to go with. They're very helpful for like, there's a lady I knew who got into art when she was, well, at the age of retiring, really. And she didn't have an eye for balance at all. Never did develop one. But she could paint very well. She could paint really pretty paintings. The rule of thirds was super important for her because it allowed her to create balance without having a eye for balance, if that makes sense. So it was really, really helpful for somebody who struggled with that. And her paintings were stunning. I mean, she made some really beautiful, beautiful things. But she had to depend on the rule of thirds because if she broke the rule of thirds, it was just going to be, she couldn't tell if things were balanced on her own. So it's one of those things, either you've got an eye for it or you don't, but that doesn't mean you're going to be or not going to be a good artist. You can just follow the rule of thirds and be safe. I mean, yeah, that would be my opinion on it. I don't know how helpful that is. I'm seriously so tired, guys. Oh my gosh, I know I'm rambling. Let's see. Melissa said, you prefer polychromos pencils or Caran d'Ache luminance? It depends on what I'm working on. Normally, I would say more often than not, I reach for my Faber-Castell polychromos. But I love them both, and I wouldn't want to be one or the other if I didn't have to. But if I had to, mostly I would go towards my polychromos. but I'd still need a handful of a wax-based pencil. I need, especially like if I'm doing skin tones and portraits, I definitely prefer a wax-based pencils for the skin tones. I just like how they blend. Like, it's easier for me to control with my techniques. Shading of the heart, fine art and design. You have the longest name. Said, I bet you like Fabriano Artistico Extra White Hot Pressed 140-pound watercolor paper because they, like you, have a long name. Stephen Bellman has a great series video on YouTube with a focus on lighting and shadows in his paintings. I'll have to look those up. I know that name sounds familiar. I must have seen his stuff. Scroll too far. Maria said, I use Inktense on an apron. Do I need to set it? You know, I've never used Inktense on fabric except accidentally. Whoops. But I don't honestly know. I would contact Derwent. I know how to create art with them, but I don't know if there's anything you're supposed to do beyond that. They may have information on their website, but you'll want to look at more. There may be some craft channels too that have used it and can tell you. But I don't want to give you bad information. I just honestly don't know. I wish I did. I like to feel like I know everything, but I'm not going to lie. I don't know. Scroll too far. There we go. Brent said, rules in art, not in my house. I'm with you on that. Michael said, is your husband into art? He draws, but not very often. Lately, he's been doing a lot of his Gundam models. He's really into doing those. He's starting to do more with the airbrushing and playing with that. So I gave him a mini airbrushing lesson last night, which I've been airbrushing forever, and he's never had an interest in it. And finally, last night, he was like actually interested because of his models. But he is God, he draws so well. And he's one of very few people who draw super realistically from memory. Like, as far as the human figure and stuff, oh, it's weird how good he is with that. Not many people are that good. I certainly couldn't do it from memory. He'll come in occasionally, be working on something. I'm like, I know something's wrong with the hand. What's wrong with this? And he'll spot it right away and fix it for me. So he's very, very good, but he doesn't put much time into it. Mostly he plays video games and Magic the Gathering. Let's see. Tamara said he did a great job. Too funny about treating you like a sister. Yeah, funny to you. He didn't shove you away from him. Let's see. Daniel said, I love the podcast you just did about gifts. Blick has many great items at a reasonable price as well. Yeah, Blick is one of my favorite places to shop. That's where, usually when I buy art supplies, first I check Amazon just because you can get it so quickly. If it's not a decent price or not available on Amazon, then I check Dick Blick. If Dick Blick doesn't have what I want, at a reasonable price, I check Jerry's Artorama. Like that's my list of art supplies where I buy from. Scrappy Cat Meyer said, I was a landscape designer and the rule of odds was that the human brain wants to divide items, but if it's an odd number, then the brain will take it all in. Interesting. I read another thing that was saying that, gosh, how did they word it? That thirds, if it's even, that the human brain was... the simplified version of it, it was a whole article, but it was like you looked over it, you looked at it and your brain just kept going like, okay, it's all in order, I'm going to move on. But it was in odds, then it struck some sort of interest in the brain, so the brain would look at it. So I don't know. Gail said that's her choice of art suppliers in the same order. Fabson Draw says, have you ever experienced art blocks? If so, any tips or solutions for this? Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, you're welcome, Art by MB. Thank you. Yes, art blocks. Absolutely. And you know how I fix them? I just choose something. Like if you look at, okay, so this is the type of work that I'm more interested in, something that's a bit more surreal, not just a portrait of an animal. Like I love painting wildlife, but it looks like every other wildlife artist. I mean, it's not that unique. This interests me because it's going to be unique. It's going to be very different. But I don't always have ideas for that. So what do? I just find a wildlife, find a good photo, and paint or draw it. It's not super creative. I'm not putting a ton of effort into the design. I mean, a little bit of effort, but not like this. Do something. Do anything. Even if, okay, so let's say I paint a bunch of owls and someone's like, oh, it's an owl. It looks like everybody else's painting of an owl. It's boring. Yeah, but I'm perfecting my skill. I'm refining my technique so that when I come up with an idea like this, I am ready to go and I am that much more skilled at whatever medium I'm going to work in. So yeah, just pick something. It happens all the time. pick something. It doesn't have to be the most amazing idea. It may be just a random like picture of an owl that you found on Pixabay or a wildlife reference photo and you copied it exactly. But you're always refining that skill. Just pick something and draw it. And that something may lead to another idea. So let's say I painted some clownfish more recently. And one of them, I painted pretty much, it was the photo I took myself, so I felt like I had the creative aspect there because it was my photo. But I painted it pretty much exactly besides adjusting some of the color as the photo. That's not super creative, but I'm going to take what I learned from that and apply it to this. So I'm always applying towards other things. So yeah, I may have artist block and coming up with something like this that's surreal, but I'm always working on something else that will build up to or give me ideas for something else, if that makes sense. Another big idea, choose, I love this question, but choose a, or get a sketchbook and start art idea journaling. So a sketch of an idea may lead to another sketch of an idea. Like last week, was it last week I posted it? I don't know. I'm confused on dates. But the Smart Art Box, the sketchbook that I did there, that first octopus led to the idea of the second octopus that I thought was even more creative. So, you know, constantly just work, just pick something and draw, and that may lead to a more like another idea. But sitting around going, I have artist block, I can't think of anything, I'm not going to paint or draw, which is what most people do, that's not going to undo artist block. If you want to fix artist block, you have to work through it by just pick anything to paint or draw. Let's see. How do you start learning how to blend colors? Also, how to highlight and shade? Practice. Okay, I know this is not the answer people like, but it's the truth. Paint what you see. If it's pink, paint it pink. If it's darker pink, try mixing a darker color. And if it doesn't work, mix a different darker color and blend on it. You're going to learn by experiencing it. You can watch all the art videos in the world. They'll help, but if you don't hit the easel, if you don't start painting on your own, just pick up that paintbrush and get started, you're not just going to learn. There's no like magical formula I can give you that is going to make you learn how to do these things. You have to hit the easel and start practicing. So that is how you learn. You pick them up and you start painting. And you just try to copy what you see in that reference photo. And it's not going to come out right half the time. That's part of the learning process. You keep working on it until it does. When one thing doesn't work, try something else. And watching these videos, watching how one artist blends, I think can really help you, but you have to experience it yourself in order to really learn. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. That's, I think, a really big thing. We get too worked up that we want everything to look perfect. We want everything so nice right off the bat. Okay, you're limiting yourself if you do that because you're probably not going to do as good of a job if you're too afraid to make mistakes. Just jump in. So if you make a mistake, you're just one step closer to knowing how to do something, getting it to look how you want. See, I just keep coming back through, better refining stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Joseph said, I've heard too that 357 draws attention. Yeah, I think the article I was talking about mentioned that too. Also, by the way, that reminds me, make sure to check out the Moderators Channels who helped me today. We've got Joseph Fincham, we have Valerie, and Nick. This time it's just Nick, not don't eat my earring, Nick. Or what was it when Nugget was sitting on my shoulder when I tried to announce that the other night? But yeah, they've all got art channels here on YouTube. Check them out. The links are in the video description. And say thank you and subscribe to them for helping out. Or well, subscribe to them because they've got cool art channels. But let's see. Daniel said, Amazon is terrible. Every set of pencil or watercolor pods I purchased over the last past year arrived broken. They did make it right, but the time between the order and uses, oh, that sucks. I ordered my Caran d'Ache, my Museum Aquarelles. I got those from Amazon, and I was worried about that because that's an expensive. It was like what did I pay for those? Because I got the wood box. It was like $312. Or no, was it less? No, it was. I think it was like $312, right around there, $308, something like that. And I was worried about that because I'm like, that's a big expensive item, but I couldn't find another website that sold with the box, not for under $600. Most of them were super expensive. So I was afraid of that for sure, but it was fine. And the nice thing with Amazon, they do usually try to make things right. Like you, inconvenient when you're waiting for art supplies, but I had this week, with the Black Friday sale things, I wanted to get the Furbo, which if you don't know what the Furbo is, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But it's a webcam for your dogs, and it also will, you can tell it, like if you're not home, you can have it spit out treats for them, which is really fun. I keep my dogs crated, so they're not getting treats while I'm gone, or when I'm not home, they're crated. But I wanted, that one will notify you if the dog barks. So when we get my future, or a future studio assistant, hopefully in a very long time from now, because I'm hoping Jesse's doing better. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that the dog wasn't barking when we were home and drive my neighbors crazy. So I wanted, anyway, they had it on Black Friday sale. Those things are amazing. You should look them up. But they had it for $134.99. When I put it in the buy it now thing, it was coming up as $200. So, and I did this over and over again, and it was supposed to be like their deal, the special deal thing, and it still had 29 minutes left of the deal. So I called Amazon, and the girl was super confused and then tried telling me, no, it's because it's a lightning deal, and it ended. Except it didn't end. It said it had 29 minutes. I know. It said that, and it still says that. You can still see that you could purchase it until I try to put it in my cart. So she argued with me that I'm wrong. I just missed the deal, whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't care. I went to the company's website, to Furbo's website themselves, and they had it for $134.99. So I just bought it from them. No big deal. And then I got an extra discount because of Ebates, and it ended up saving me money. It was all good. I was over it until she called back, because I hung up when I realized I could just get it from them. I'm like, because she had me on hold again. So she calls back and then starts telling me again, oh no, you missed the lightning deal. Okay, now you're just calling me a liar. I didn't miss the lightning deal. I had 29 minutes and 3 seconds. I know, because me and my husband were just talking about it, because I told him to get out of my chair so I could order it, and he said I had plenty of time. And I looked at it, and that's, I mean, there's a reason I paid attention to the time. So I get an email from her a little while later. I let it go. I didn't really care. It's like, whatever, I got it from the company. I'm happy. She sends me an email again explaining why I'm wrong and how lightning deals work. I order from Amazon all the time. I know how lightning deals work. I'm not wrong. I explained that to you. Why did you email me this? And, oh, now can you give me feedback? Oh, I'll give you feedback now. I was going to let it go. I was fine. I moved on. I got the item where the thing. So I left the feedback and let them know what happened. And I was kind of irritated with that. And I said, you know, the girl was nice. That wasn't the problem. But the website was basically, you know, and it happens. I don't care. Websites, and especially on Black Friday stuff, I'm sure plenty of people were having problems with their website. It happens. But then when I call you and tell you what's wrong, give me, you know, why are you not just giving me the item for the price advertised? So they ended up giving me, they're like, well, we'll sell it, call us back and we'll sell it to you now for the amount that we originally said we would. I already bought it. I'm done. I moved on. Too late. So they gave me $15 for my inconvenience. I'm like, wow, I got such a savings because of the thing. But that's the one thing that's nice with Amazon. If you do contact them, if you are having problems, they do a pretty good job of making it right. I've had a few times, like, I mean, it shouldn't have taken that much work in this case, but they do a good job of trying to make you happy if you think to call them. So, like, if you ever have a problem with Amazon, let them know. Don't let it, you know, whether something like is coming late. If an item is not there when it's supposed to be, if you call them, they'll give you and ask for it. You can get a free month to your Amazon Prime membership. I do that all the time. Because they're always late. They'll say they delivered stuff and didn't deliver it, and I was home, so it wasn't stolen. But yeah, anyway, that's my Amazon ramble. Let's see. Melissa said, will you use pencils on this for details? Absolutely not. I do not like and I don't like them on canvas anyway, but paint gives me the same details as pencils. There's like no need for it for me. Quilting DB3 said Inktense works really well on fabric. You just need to use water or fabric medium to make it permanent. How would you paint? Because I paint on fabric and then make an art quilt out of it. That is so cool. I quilted once. Well, kind of. I have a small version of the blanket left of the scraps I made for actually Jesse's blanket over here. But I made a king size for my first quilt. That was a lot of work, and I got it done in, I think, 6 days. I did nothing. Like, I'd wake up and work on it, and then go to sleep, and wake up and work on it. I lived off peanut butter, spoonfuls of peanut butter for that whole 6 days, because all I did, like, work on the quilt, eat a spoonful of peanut butter, work on the quilt, sleep, work on just repeat that process. That's a lot of work. I won't do that again. I have a lot of respect for quilters. And I don't understand, like, it's so funny when people complain that quilts are too expensive. Oh, make one. You'll change your mind. I think you guys aren't charging enough. Claire said, I noticed you're not wetting your canvas. I've never used Liquitex Basics. Are you adding a lot of water to get this glazing effects? I'm using a small amount of water, not a ton. The Liquitex Basics are pretty thin. I don't want them so thin that they're like completely translucent in this case. But I do need them thin enough that they'll glide smoothly. So I don't know if that helps. I pretty much never use straight paint out of the tube. It's always going to be thinned at least a little bit. Emma said, thank you for all your help you give to us in your videos. You have helped me with many things over the years. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Rick's Artwork said, Aaron Blaze has awesome videos on light and shadow. Just watched them all yesterday. Oh, God, I'm such a huge fan of Aaron Blaze. Every time somebody like on the digital painting video, when they're like, oh, digital art isn't real art. Or what was it? One person was saying, oh, it looks just like technical skill. No creativity or something like that. And it's like, first, what? It's the same thing as normal art. But the other thing is like, well, you haven't seen Aaron Blaze's work then, because you see his stuff and it is super creative. I love Aaron Blaze's work so much. If you guys have not checked out his stuff, he's here on YouTube. He's actually the animator from the Lion King. Oh my gosh, you will learn so much from his stuff. Even if you're not a digital artist, he teaches so much with lighting, and check him out. It's amazing. Let's see. Michael said, I am into drawing animals and anything in action. That's why I'm into fantasy art. I love animals. Yeah, I like fantasy art a lot too. Okay, where was I on this? Actually, this whole tooth mess is a mess. Hence the word mess. Oh my God, so tired. You know it's bad when you realize yourself, you're just like, that doesn't make sense at all. I'm just going to put a little bit of this over this to tint that, because that actually needs, you know what? No, I don't like that. Let's add some purple. Let's see how that goes. See what I mean? Don't be afraid to try things. I don't like how it looked. Wipe it off, try it again. Yeah, that'll be better for a shadow, and then I'll have to come back in with black too. Actually, some brown. I really need to darken up those back teeth. This is not shaped right at all. So I'm getting to the point, once I get this blocked in, that's where I'm going to start switching over to the liner brush and really focusing on the detail and refining things and getting things accurate. I mean, this is the very messy stage. Now is going to be time I'm going to start worrying a bit more about color. I'm going to worry more about contrast. I'm going to worry more about everything. I just needed to get the general idea of where everything was going to go. Daniel said, if you have mental blocks with art, place a number of ideas in a container and pick two to four of them. They may be your best work. It does work. Lisa said that idea in one of her casts. Yeah, absolutely. That's another good way. Get like a mason jar, a bag, I don't know, something you think is cute. And write down random words. So it could be like spoon, butterfly. Like all of these would be on a different piece of paper. Each paper has one object or animal or subject or whatever. And then pick 2, 3, 4 of them out of there and figure out a way to combine them into one subject. It could even just be in your sketchbook. But you do that a few times until you come up with stuff that like you've got to get your brain working. If your brain is not working and you have artist block, you've got to get those muscles like thinking again. You've got to build them, and it may be small and starting like that, just those few ideas. That really, really is a good way to go. And it forces you to be extra creative, because how are you going to combine a spoon, a light bulb, and I don't know, a ladybug? Like, how do you fit those items together and make them look good? So yeah, Daniel pays attention. DJ said, I'm missing my babies so much. I cry weekly. Oh, I'm sorry. Janice, I'm currently, if you can't tell, pretending that that everything's good. We're going to pretend everyone's healthy. Janice, I'm in denial. Janice says, go to turn in, head for bed, give the studio assistants hugs. I'll email you about the painting I'm wondering about, but probably not going to be able to buy it. Yeah, just email me and I'll let you know. Let's see. Whoops. That just scrolled too far. Tatiana said, have you counted how many layers on the average you put down when you paint acrylics? Do you ever achieve the perfection on the first layer? No, but I'm not trying to achieve perfection on the first layer, because it's not a paint by number. If you want things to be very flat, that's where you paint like a la premium. Everything's just kind of one shot. You're not doing a ton of layering. I mean, there's some layering, but not a ton. Glazing gives you more depth because of the way that the light is going to refract through each layer. It bounces around in there, and you really do get a lot more depth. It's not something you're really seeing in a computer, or on the computer. Then it could just be a paint by number, because it's going to look flat. But in person, the way that the light bounces through it, it really gives it a lot more depth. So my goal is I'm never trying to get it right on the first layer. Otherwise, it just doesn't fit for my style. The only time that that's really going to be different for me is if I'm painting something with a palette knife or like more impressionistically, but even then I end up layering stuff. But then it could, I mean, you get almost a paint by number feel with that. So I could kind of, somebody's going to get mad I said that, but it doesn't need the depth of glazing. Let's see, Heather said, I ordered Caran d'Ache gouache to be delivered Friday. Amazon sent me a pic saying it was delivered. Not at my house though. Found it and it was in a bubble mailer. Oh my gosh. That is, yeah, I would definitely be complaining about that. I've had a few like really weird things where I'm like, the way that they pack stuff. Actually, I had stuff come today and it was an item that was this big. It was bells for the door so the dogs could let you know when they need to go out. I'm not going to use it. I don't know why I thought I needed that. And that, what else was in there? That, I think a little bag of millet for birds. So another item this big and a box this big. And it was in a box this big. Like it was all bubble. They had so much, not bubble wrap, but the big air pocket things. So much packing to have 3 little items in this huge, I don't know what, it was interesting. Maybe they ran out of boxes. I don't know. It was kind of funny. Like some of the stuff they do, I'm just like, who, what, why? Okay. Andy said, have you ever drawn the inside of an animal's mouth before? Yes, I have. I haven't seen one of your works of the animal's mouth that open that much. I've done a lot of dogs that were panting, so the mouth was hanging open. I've done quite a few. There are probably some on my website if you go to my gallery. I think I've got some over there still. But that's normally when the inside of the mouth shows. I've got some where I've done like a tiger or a leopard and the mouth was just kind of loosely hanging open, but completely yawning open this way. I don't know if I've got any on my website like this. Probably not. Becky said, have you used acrylic mediums such as slow drying medium to help with blending and make them more like oils? Yes, and I hate them with a fiery passion. It makes the paint like gunky. It changes it. I do not like them at all. I like that acrylics dry fast. If I want them to dry slower, then I'm going to use my airbrush. I use the one that the Grex is the one I have here, but you also, like I used to use my Iwata Neo. I used to use, before I got those, you can get the cheap hobby kit ones, the little single action airbrushes just to mist water. I can keep it wet for hours if I need to. So I really don't like the mediums. Now glazing medium I like. I just don't like the slow drying mediums at all. DJ said, I know what you mean. I had 3 small items and it was in a huge box. I had no idea. Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking sometimes. Danielle said, blame the oversized shipping. Whoops. Oh. Why did you delete? Oh. Oh. I see why that was deleted. Okay, Tamara said, I have been watching all of your airbrush videos now that I finally bought one. You've been a huge help. Will you be using an airbrush on this one? I actually already did on the background. My background is all with the airbrush. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it at all for some of the shading. I might. We'll see. I'm so in love with this airbrush and it's so convenient because now that I'm cleaning it properly, again, it's never clogged. That was always a fight with between the paint I was using, not cleaning it properly. It was a mess before. So now I'm more like willing to grab the airbrush and start using it for little shadows and stuff. So I may end up using it to soften out certain areas because there's an effect that you can get with airbrush that you just don't get with your traditional paint brushes. So I might use it more on him. We'll see. We'll see what's needed because I know I want to create, you know, a soft effect on some of this. So probably. Sarah said, are you interested in the Lion King remake that's coming out next summer? Maybe? I don't know. I don't like going to the movies that often. I mean, there's a few things that I go and see. Like, I like comic book movies, but I don't go, I don't have the patience to sit still and watch something for any real length of time. I get really impatient and bored. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe, probably not. We'll see. I may change my mind. But I don't like going to the movies either. I get really bored. And then once I'm at home, I don't usually bother to rent anything. I usually, yeah, I don't know. How many teeth are there? I don't even know. So see, these highlights I'm putting in here, they're very basic. I'll continuously come back through. And this actually goes a lot faster when I'm painting on my own. When I'm live streaming, I keep stopping and talking. But normally, like, this would be done, I'd say within an hour, I would have it done start to finish. If I weren't, 2 hours tops, if I weren't talking. Like what I have done right now would normally, like if I weren't talking, I probably would have this done in maybe 20 minutes max. I don't even think that long for what I have here, just blocking stuff out. So it's not as slow as what you're seeing, but you still want to, you know, take your time and just keep layering until it looks how you want. Okay, let's see. Oops. Welcome back, Rich. Percy said that lion's mouth is exotic dynamic beauty. I'm gonna go with that. That sounds way fancier. I would have said he was just yawning. I like your description better than mine. Tatiana said, Derwent and Caran d'Ache are much cheaper on Jackson's Art Supplies than the Blick website. Oh, nice. Even with shipping to the US. Wow, that's good to know. Rich said, I'm really happy that my dad bought me a drawing course. Oh, awesome. Congrats. Have fun with that. Tomorrow said, at the end of the video, can you give us an overview of the whole painting of the lion? Actually, go to Instagram. I should have the link in the description, and you can see what the whole thing looks like right now. Or like what it, besides the mouth, obviously. But that will, I'm not really going to be able to get this camera back enough, I don't think, for you to see. But if you go over on Instagram, you will see a better photo of that. I posted it last night, so it should be, like, I think, the second post. Or second from most recent. Sarah said, fun fact, the movie is done using photorealistic animation. Really? I didn't know that. Well, okay, I only saw a few previews, like here and there, so I didn't know if they were like filming live animals and just putting a green. I had no idea what they were. I never looked into it that much. I just saw a quick preview. That's impressive. They did it. What I saw looked amazing. Okay, let's start building up some more highlights on the tongue. We've got a little fuzzy texture, so I'm just going to kind of dot in some of this to start building the texture. Now, this can be a little bit too textured, and that's okay, because I'll end up glazing over it, and that's going to tone some of the texture down. So it's okay if this ends up being too harsh at this layer. I'm going to get a bunch of dots to get that tongue look. Fuzzy tongue? I don't know. I'm ready for bed. I say that, but I know I'm not going to end up going to sleep. And see, I don't really need to worry about color at all because I can tint all of that by glazing. Just starting to build up that tiny detail here and there, little things that I was missing. And so I'm just doing this with white. It's okay. I mean, it's too bright, but it'll, when I glaze over it, it's going to tone it down, and it'll bring the high contrast between here and here will just be brought together. It's going to just tint all that color so it looks almost more like an oil painting than this harsh, like right now that kind of looks like paint by number. Let's see. So I have been, a couple of you guys have told me over the last couple of days, Liquitex Basics now has transparent mixing white. I need to do some shopping. I need some of that. I've been using their heavy body. I'm not using any of that tonight, but I've been using their heavy body paint, and the texture, it dries, the heavy body paint dries really fast, but I'm really excited to try that in the Liquitex Basics. I wonder if it's going to be like too translucent, or if it'll be amazing, or I don't know. I'm excited. I never knew why that wasn't available with Liquitex Basics. Somebody's large dog is barking. There's an idiot. I bet you it's the same people. They keep locking. They've got this lab puppy. I guess he's like 5 or 6 months old. They lock him out on the balcony, and the dog just sits out there barking his head off. You live in an apartment, you idiots. It amazes me how inconsiderate people are, both to the dog and their neighbors. I turned them into my like I actually showed my apartments where that dog was and the name, but I think they're still doing it. I'm pretty sure it's the same people. I'd actually have to go look. I don't know. I'd be so embarrassed. Well, I'd feel bad if my dogs were barking and bugging my neighbors. Who does that? Let's see. Thanks, DJ. Dev, I don't know. That sounds like the beginning of a joke. Fem said, I always assumed you stayed up painting after the live stream and don't actually go to bed till 2 or 3 a.m. your time. Actually, I don't usually go to bed till like 5 or 6 a.m. my time. apparently I don't sleep anymore. It's even worse than before. But yeah, I usually don't actually go to bed. I'm tired tonight. I say I'm going to go to sleep. I'm not going to. I don't think I'd even be able to fall asleep if I wanted to. But, yeah, normally, sometimes I keep painting. Sometimes, usually I'll go take a break, like take the dogs out, go play Warcraft for a bit. Because, yeah, that's usually what I do after the live stream. And just if you are, I've got a few people on Patreon who have messaged me that I need to get back to. I'm probably not going to get back to people on there. If you are waiting for a message from me, I won't get to that until tomorrow or Friday. I'm going to start going through my messages and trying to get caught up there. Deb says, because he didn't have an ear for music. It was the beginning of a joke. That's funny. Goofy and funny. Okay, let's see. I guess I'll just keep working on some of these little details. DJ said, I hear you. Apartment people can be so disrespectful. Makes me wonder where and why they moved in here. Oh no. Yeah, I love parts about living in an apartment. Like, there are definitely things like when my oven broke, no big deal. You just call maintenance. You know, that sort of thing is like super nice. The roof was leaking, no big deal. You call maintenance and they still can't fix it because apparently they don't know where the leak was coming from. But I mean, it's not my responsibility. Which is really, really nice. So there's that aspect. Like, there's things that are so great about living here. And then I love this apartment. Just the location. I really, really love living here. But yeah, sometimes neighbors, we've been lucky. The neighbors I have right now, besides that person barking. Now, one thing that's really good with like if I lived in, not in a house, if I lived in, if I lived in a house, not an apartment, oh my gosh, my brain is broken. But if I lived there and somebody's dog is barking, you can't really do much. I mean, you know, you can call cops, you can call Humane Society, you can turn them in, and then you have to give them your name of who complained and all of that. And you probably don't want your neighbors to know you complained about their obnoxious dog, which really isn't the dog's fault. It's the owner's fault for letting it stay out there barking. But anyway, you know, not really much is done if you live in a home, whereas or at a house. In the apartment, our management company here is amazing. And if you let them know, if they know where the dog is, they like let the people know. Like, I know if you don't pick up after your dog and you get caught, you get fined like $75. If you don't, which is great because I hate people not picking up after their dog. If the dog is off leash, they get fined. So there are certain things like that with being in an apartment is actually better because we have the management company enforces as long as you know where the dog is that is barking and can let them know. So it's not, I mean, that is actually pretty nice. And I'm sure not all apartments are the same. This one I've been really impressed with. Well, at least the management that we have now. We've had a few that were completely useless that worked here, but the ones that we have now are really good. So they usually, as long as you can let them know where the barking has come from, they take care of it. We had someone move in across from me recently, and their dogs were just like, but it only lasted for a couple of days, and they put a stop to that pretty quickly, which was nice. There was more people who just left the dog outside, locked out on the balcony for hours. And that one was bad because they have a 4-year-old kid who was sitting on the inside of the window, teasing the dog through the window, making the dog bark even more. So they're obviously home, and we're just going to let that happen. Jerks. Thanks, Tamara. Tamara says, I'm having a love affair with my new Neo Iwata. I have 3 backgrounds waiting to be painted now. New style, out of focus. Yeah, isn't it amazing? Like, there's just things you can do with an airbrush you can't do really well with other media. I'd say pan pastels are probably the closest of looks that you get to an airbrush. But there's just the way that you can glaze and get the transparency from the airbrush is different than anything else. So, yeah. Welcome to your new addiction. It's amazing. My husband is getting my Iwata Neo now. That thing, actually, I've had that airbrush for probably like 8 years. That thing has held up. For how inexpensive it is, it was a good airbrush, or still is a good airbrush. Yeah, he was playing with that last night. He's getting that in my old air compressor. Let's see. Good night, Art by MD, if you're still here. Okay. Maybe I should have coffee tonight instead of water. Let's see. Gail said, I hope you're planning doing another pan pastel piece sometime here in the near future. Absolutely. I'm like, actually, I work in so many mediums and I'm excited to do all of them again. Like, I really want to do the watercolor pencils again. I haven't done those in a while. I'm so excited about most of them. And I'm thinking, unless Jessie, either this week or maybe next week, unless Jessie is sick to where I need to spend more attention with her, more time with her on Saturdays, I'll probably do a Patreon only live stream. I'm not sure which medium yet. Either this Saturday or next Saturday. Probably not this Saturday because I would have needed to announce it in an email. Probably next Saturday. So for those of you on Patreon, keep your eyes out for that. And maybe I'll do, I haven't done watercolor pencils in a while, so that may be a good medium to go with. And that's nice because if you have Inktense, you can follow along just fine with it. Heck, you could even follow along with acrylics. Your colored pencil, I mean, you're pretty open. You'll just be slower if you're working in colored pencil. Okay, I'm going to actually make this a bit brighter while I'm going to define some of these lines. And then I'm going to glaze over it. Rich said, is it me or do people fill half a sketchbook, then leave it and buy a new one? I just keep buying new ones and not filling anything. So I'm even worse off than that. I want to start doing more. I'm like really getting more into sketchbook stuff though. So I want to start trying to finish them. But yeah, I think that's a pretty common thing to happen. I like to buy new sketchbooks. I like buying new art supplies in general. See what I mean? Just keep layering and layering. And right now, so the lines that I'm making, the highlights are even through, start to finish. It's all just white. That would be too flat. I can't leave it here. That's a big deal. I'm making them light now, but I'm going to glaze a dark color over them and then come back and put highlights on some of this. You don't want things to be super one, like, color all the way through. So let's say you're painting trees and on the branches, it's really easy to go, okay, I need to highlight the light sources here. So the highlight goes all the way down the branch. No, pay attention to where you've got random spots of highlights. And that's going to be the case in his mouth here. He's going to have these random spots where the light's kind of hitting because it's coming in between the teeth here. So he'll have some spots that are going to be more highlighted than others, but I'm going to do this all in one now and then glaze it and then come back and define the highlight in certain areas. So I've got variation between those lights and darks. Variation is a really big deal when it's anything with nature. Try not to make things too uniform. When they get too uniform, they don't look realistic or natural at all anymore. You end up with something that looks very stiff. I'm actually going to need transparent mixing white for some of the black. Right now, like the black of his lips is just solid black. That's too dark. I'll end up glazing a little bit of a transparent mixing white with probably a little bit of purple or green. Green just because of my background and the colors that I'm going to be using here. I don't know, maybe magenta. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But it needs something else. I don't want to leave things as black and flat as what I've got right now. Thanks, Arces. Michelle said, I'm under self-imposed supervision in art stores. You know, and it's funny because I use the excuse if I buy art supplies, it's a tax deduction since it's my business. The problem is I already bought all the art supplies. So now when I go in an art supply store, most of the things that I want in stores, like where I can walk into, I already have. So if I want to get something different, I have to go online. So it's not, I don't know, I tend to not go as crazy now when I buy online as I would if it were in a store. If I see it in the store and it's something I don't have, it's like I have to have this now. Whereas for some reason, if it's online, I can wait a little bit longer. But yeah, I already bought all the things in the art supply stores. Well, one of the things too that I'm noticing in a lot of the art supply stores like that we go into, that we have here, Michael's and Hobby Lobby are the two main ones, and they're getting to where it's more and more generic stuff. They don't have as many of the good, like high quality archival type art supplies. They have some, but not as many. And the ones they do have, I already have. So we're definitely, that's one thing that I kind of hate. I mean, I look at years ago when I first got into art, it seemed like Michael's had way more name brand stuff. And now they go more towards their generic house brand crap, most of which is absolute crap. Not just Michael's, like all the art supply stores. I do not like all of their house stuff, except for paintbrushes. I actually like those. Let's see, what area was I going to work on? I really shouldn't be painting. It's kind of, this is also a good example of, you can't really mess stuff up. Like, technically, if there was a possibility of me messing stuff up, this would not be the night to paint. I probably shouldn't even be near my art supplies because I'm so half asleep right now. It doesn't matter. I just paint over an area that doesn't come out right. But it's kind of like, I'm going here looking at this going, I don't even remember. Okay, now I remember what I was looking at. Which area did I want to work on? I was mixing a color and forgot what I was mixing it for. So then I forgot what color I needed. I'm a pro. Let's see. What is my favorite medium? I would say acrylic is my favorite. It's kind of like my first love type thing. Well, I guess maybe not my first love. My first love, or first art really I got into was watercolor and charcoals, which is funny because you guys know I don't really use those mediums much. Well, now I like watercolor again. But anyway, that was what I started with. But then I really got into art when I was like, this is what I want to do for a living. Acrylics were my medium. That was actually my only interest at the time, acrylics and graphite. But yeah, acrylics are just still one of my absolute favorites. I feel like I can do anything with them. Well, acrylics, and I count the airbrush as part of my supplies with acrylics. I don't know why setting an alarm should require your horn to go off. I don't know if you heard that. I don't really see the point of your horn beeping to set an alarm. Like, wouldn't the lights flashing be enough to let you know your alarm was set? I don't know. Random thoughts. Wicked Illusion Art said, this is a random one. Does your yoga ball chair ever deflate and have to inflate it some more every few months or so? Yeah, definitely. It really needs to be reinflated now. It's getting more squishy than I want it to be. I have to remember where I put the little, they have that air pump thing to fill it up. I don't remember. There's like one of 3 locations it could be in, neither of which I feel comfortable opening the cupboard door of because everything will fall out. That's how I clean, apparently. My apartment always looks super clean when you walk in. Just don't open any of the closet or cupboard doors. But I'm actually going to be working on that tomorrow. I've got to clean up my laundry room because it looks like an episode of Hoarders. But yeah, it's in one of those locations. And I don't know which one it really needs to. Yes, it's normal to have to reinflate them every so often or add more air. No, Michael, I do not know who Simpkins is. Although, I don't remember names, so it's possible I've seen their work and just don't remember because I don't remember names. Vladimir said, have you heard the Muffin song on YouTube? OMG, it's so cute and funny. No, and I have a feeling I don't want to because that sounds like something that would get forever stuck in your head. My husband sent me a video, it was a lady, like a choir type thing, singing, it sounded kind of like a church choir, something about like eggs and sausage or bacon or I don't know. It was like food items and with this rhythm that I just had, thank God it got out of my head. If you know what it is, please don't remind me. But that was stuck in my head for hours, so I am not looking that up. Lori said, have I ever used colored pencil over acrylics? It doesn't stick that well. Like, okay, it can be done. As far as archival issues go, you're fine there, but it doesn't stick well. It doesn't really show up well, especially here, the acrylics, it's plastic. Colored pencils don't stick to plastic very well. So it's just not a, as far as mixed medium goes, it's not one that I would personally have any interest in doing. Like it doesn't work how I would want them to. Fem says, I can't wait for another pigment marker video. It's been a long time since the last one. Oh, that's in it. See, so many mediums that I hear that I love and I'm excited to use. And like I had one of them I really wanted. I'll probably just do it in sketchbooks, but those Brusho, I had it in the watercolor or one of the Smart Art boxes. That was Brusho watercolor things where you sprinkle it and then spray it. I really want to play with those. Like I have so many things here when I start cleaning. I'm like, I forgot I had this. I really want to play with this too. Yes, markers, definitely. Oops, scroll too far. Sabino said, do you have any tips for drawing animals from real life, like at the zoo? Did you ever use gouache? Lane looks amazing. I have used gouache, not enough to know a whole lot about it, so it's just not my choice. It was fine. It photographs beautifully. It dries really flat, so it's great for illustrations. For drawing real life at the zoo, don't take a lot of stuff. I mean, you want something that fits easily into a bag, and it depends on the zoo. Ideally, I like to, if I'm going to sit at the zoo, I want to find a bench in the shade. So at my zoo that I go to, like the giraffes are a good place to go. The hippos are a good place to go, like somewhere you can be comfortable and really sit there for a while. When drawing them, I'm not going to sit there and start drawing tiny detail. Get the general outline. So let's say I'm drawing a giraffe. I'm not going to do the little eyelashes and everything. He's going to move. They move constantly. Get a general, like really quickly, a general, just loose sketch for where the, top of the head, neck, bottom of the jaw. Just that, just to get the position. Then go in and start refining detail. But that would be, at least that's how I like to draw it, because they move too quickly for you to really sit and focus on one little detail. Focus on the detail after you get those general, like, just gesture drawing first. My general idea of it, what the perspective is, that sort of thing, and then go in and do detail. I don't know if that even makes sense, but that's how I do it. I haven't done it in a long time, though. Dev's still doing jokes. Ursi says, Art Hobby Lobby carries the General's 2HB cedar pencils with black erasers, and those are very good. Cool. I've not seen those. Let's see. Theo Art Illustration said, have you ever heard about putting a color down that's totally outside the realm and spending the time excited to correct the mistake? Well, yeah, I'm excited to glaze. Actually, can I glaze this yet? I probably should put more detail before I glaze. Yeah, I can glaze now and put more detail and then glaze again. Yeah, I do that where, like, right now my color is all kinds of a mess and I'm anxious to glaze over it. So let's go ahead and pick something, I guess, do a little bit of red, a little bit of purple. I'm just going to mush some colors together, get a little bit of this reddish brown color. I just need to tone it all down. Some water. That is way too much water. Let's see how this goes. That is not the right color. I need more orangey, reddish. Let's just add yellow then. There we go. Warm that up a bit. And still I'm going to have to come through with more highlights and such. I've actually got so much work to do on this. I can skip ahead and do a little bit of glazing now. Actually, that tongue needs to be a cooler pink, so let me remix another batch. Oh, why am I... See, too tired. I'm adding opaque white in with my color to glaze. What am I thinking? Don't do that. That's opaque. It's not a glaze when it's opaque. That is too dark. I really shouldn't be allowed to play with paints right now. My mess up worked. Let's see. Rick said, why didn't you upload last week? Because I am a lazy human being. Lori said, thanks. JPC13 said, the Michaels near me still has tons of name brand, but Hobby Lobby is basically shoving their generic supplies down my throat. Yeah, and it keeps me from going to Hobby Lobby too much for art supplies. I mean, I don't... Oh, thank you, Scrappy Cat Myers. You are so sweet. But yeah, Hobby Lobby's generic stuff, and it's all crap. Their canvas, all of it, it's absolute. I mean, if you're just learning to paint the canvases, I guess you can get away with it. But if you're selling, they warp like crazy. I've put holes through them I don't know how many times. Hobby Lobby's generic canvases are the reason, theirs and Aaron Brothers, were the reason that I stopped using any. That's like when I was like, that's it. I'm only using Fredericks from here on out. And that's before I had ever started talking to Fredericks. I was like, I was so sick of the problems I'd had with other brands. I'm like, I'm done. It's Fredericks from here on out, and I have not regretted that decision once. But yeah, all of their generic stuff is just it's frustrating. And especially like even with the canvases, even Michael's, they used to carry Fredericks, and now some of them have the rolls of canvas, but not lip gloss. Hold on, lips are dry. Does that mean I talk too much? They don't have the like the stretched canvases anymore, and that sucks. Baby Panda said, one good thing about the horn beeping when you set your alarm is that anyone watching perhaps wants to break into your car, the beeping will make them think twice. Well, I would think the blinking light inside would make them think twice when they approached it. I mean, most people probably aren't casing your car right when you park. That's one instance. They could walk by an hour later. Your beeping horn didn't help anybody but annoy your neighbors. But the blinking light, the alarm is going off, tells them there's an alarm. So I would think that would be enough. I don't know. That's my thought. Vladimir said, do you mean that lady was singing to... Yes, that is it. Tomatoes, potatoes. Yep, that is it. That is the one. Vladimir remembered, and now it's going to be stuck in my head. I sort of love and hate you at the same time right now. Rich, why didn't you upload last week? Still lazy. Oh, you just scrolled too far. That's why. That was the same question. Scroll again. Rich wants to know what is glazing. It is when I'm putting a transparent layer. I'm not even painting right now. I'm turning off the camera. That is a good enough for tonight. Wow, that looks so different than what you guys are seeing. I'll have to post a photo later on Instagram. Maybe I'll get a bit more done first. But glazing, I'm creating a transparent glazing. God, I'm so tired. Transparent layer and glazing or tinting the color. So think of like tinted windows. You can still see what's through it. You see what the previous layers looked like, but you're tinting the color. That's like the simplest way to say what glazing is. Becky said, so when you're glazing, are you thinning the color with water, or is there another trick? I'm personally thinning it with water, and normally when I glaze, that's what I use. But you can also get glazing medium. Liquitex makes one that I love, and it creates a gloss look. I like it for like final glazes. I don't like it when I'm doing my base coats because just the way that it sticks and all that. But that is a good way to go if you want that glossy look. I get the glossy look anyway. Like if you had I have so many thoughts that are just a jumbled mess. I have like thought salad in my head right now. Okay, let's see if I can back that up and say that right. So with the glazing medium, it's a little bit thicker. It makes your paint a little bit thicker. It also, mine has a gloss to it. It will cause areas, like if I put it just on the tongue's going to be shiny, and the area that I didn't use the glazing medium would not be, but that's not a big deal because I can put a gloss varnish and even everything out at the end. So that's not if that happens, don't freak out. That's not a big deal as long as you do the gloss varnish over everything at the end. But it's a little bit thicker and the light refracts through a little bit different. Probably a little bit better looking. So like if I want something to look super like grapes are a good example. I will almost always use glazing medium if I'm glazing over grapes because they look like you can see the color going through it or the light going through it. With a mouth or something like this, I don't need it to look that much, and I just like the texture of the paint better, or the consistency of it with water. The glazing medium tends to be a little bit too thick for my taste, but there are times where it just looks better, and so that's where I'll jump to it. Like with grapes is a good example. My word salad happening in my head is not improving. Let's see. Just roll. Oh, wow, thanks. I cannot read your name. You've got a really cool profile picture. Thank you so much. Let's see. Art of Raven D said, about your yoga bouncy ball, is it very comfortable to sit on? Absolutely. My tailbone hasn't been behaving lately and I need a better seat. It may or may not be perfect for you. It is really good for me. So I guess, yeah, my tailbone would be the problem. Like that whole thick disc doesn't set where it's supposed to be, but that's where it causes a lot of pain from. So, but as long as I'm on something, like I need a really soft chair. I can't sit on a hard surface for very long. Like my stool in here is pretty padded because I can sit on a little bit longer. As the padding starts to wear out, which it's getting there, I'll have to replace it to have the padding for the cushion for my tailbone, or well, it's my whole back, but it's that last disc, whatever, that's out of line for me, the last piece. So yeah, it works for me, but everyone's back is so different that I don't want to give you bad advice. You can try it and see if it works, but it does for mine a lot. Let's see, the Art of Raven D. The only canvas I bought from Hobby Lobby were the watercolor panels. Pretty smooth texture, and it was a couple of old canvases. Their watercolor canvas boards are nice to work on. The watercolor canvases, the stretch canvas, that's the one that I put the holes through. So frustrating. Let's see. Rich said, can you use Mod Podge for glossing? No. I mean, No, don't do, that's not what that's for. Sarah Makes Art said, I remember your critique of my channel. You focused a lot on my thumbnails. I recently found that if I include myself working in the thumbnail, it seems to do better. Ooh, that's a good, yeah, I could see that being the case. Thank you, Tamara. You guys are so sweet. Art of Raven D, Art of Raven D said, I just envisioned, why did this open? Don't open. Go back. Go back to the questions I was asking. No, stop doing that. Where did the pop, hold on. I'm having the issues. Let's see. Art of Raven D said, I just envisioned an apple being tossed into the lion's mouth just now. Why? Does look like he's about to catch something. Maybe we'll have a fish swimming through. Probably not. Could happen. Okay. Let's see. Any more questions before we finish up tonight? The art and illustration says, stay hungry, everyone. Have a great day. That was random. Yeah, the Mod Podge, the reason that I use Mod Podge, like, would be for, when I wanted I glued, word salad in my head, thought salad, whatever. When I glued sheet music to my canvas and then painted part of the canvas and then part of it had the sheet music. I use Mod Podge for that. But that's the only thing I would really use it for. Hearing music, where's that coming? Sometimes Alexa just likes to randomly go off. I don't think that's what that was, though. Deb said maybe he's yawning. Yeah, that's actually what this guy was doing in the photo. It looks like he's yawning. The original. And this mouth, by the way, super not done. I've probably got another hour to make it look how I want it to. An hour where I'm actually focused and maybe slept. I may have to take NyQuil tonight. This not sleeping thing has been going on for a few weeks, and it is getting to the point where I'm like, this is just ridiculous. Nothing that normally makes me sleep is working. So my brain is complete mush. Lori said, I use a reducing glass instead of getting to see, what? I don't think I'm reading that right. I use a reducing glass instead of getting to see how it goes. Do you also use one? No. No, I do not. I'm not actually, I don't even know what a reducing glass is, or maybe I do, and my brain shut down and lost that information. It's possible. It got lost in the word salad. Rich said, why would you have sheet music? I play violin. I have played violin since I was 9 years old. And I grew up playing in the Claremont Youth Symphony Orchestra, and then I played in the Adult Symphony, or it was just called the Claremont Symphony Orchestra. I think it called the Adult Symphony. The kids all called it the Adult Symphony. I played in that for several years as well. That's all volunteer. It's not like professional. I was not amazing. But it was fun. CDM wants to know approximately how long will it take me to finish this piece. This one will probably be a piece that takes about 30 hours total. I would guess 20 to 30. But I don't know. Sometimes you get it going on a flow and everything goes quickly. But I think the reason this one will take me that longer than usual is that I've got to do a lot of research on the other elements. Once I get things in there, like I have to find the right anemone. Anemones take me a long time to paint. So, and I'm going to have that in his main. Some of the coral, all of those take a long time. And so I think if I had to guess, I would say 20 to 30 hours, maybe 40, possibly. We'll see. This is going to be a bigger project. So like on Patreon, it's going to be a 2-part. My goal for this week for you guys is to have the face, probably the ear, the face and the ear, maybe part of the body done. And then the next week would be all of the anemone and fish and all the really creative stuff. Heather said he's catching fireflies. You know, believe it or not, there are no fireflies in this painting. Although there could be, huh? That might look cool. We'll find out. Maybe that would look. I'll have to Photoshop it in and see if I like how it looks. Lou said, hi, Lisa, thanks for your art advice. I was wondering if you had any general tips for ensuring that your work remains archival. Using archival materials. That's a big one. You know, you don't want to, your paper has to be pH neutral. It has to be acid free. So there's step one. Make sure that your products are light fast. If the company will not give you or cannot give you the light fast ratings, it is not light fast. Even if the company, and a lot of companies will be like, this product has superior light fastness. Okay, what are the ratings? If If you don't have the ratings, it is not light fast. If they did light fast testings, they're going to brag about it because that's an expensive thing to do. And yeah, so make sure your supplies are light fast. It's not really such a big deal with acrylics and oils. Those generally are. Where you see more light fast issues are going to be like colored pencils, watercolors, markers, those sort of things. So that's a big deal. Do not expose your artwork to direct sunlight. Don't have it sitting out in the sun. Don't have it like, or hanging on a wall where the sun rays are like hitting the actual painting. That is also something, even though your work is light fast, it doesn't matter when it's in direct sunlight. When the light fast ratings and the light fast terms that we use are meant for what they call museum quality or museum conditions, meaning there's no sunlight in a museum. It's all artificial lighting. You don't want direct sunlight on it. So those would be my biggest tips there. And it just make sure you're doing things like don't put acrylic paint or a water-based product on top of an oil-based product. So let's say you're working in colored pencils. Those are wax and oil. Don't put ink on top or a gel pen, what a lot of people do. That's not going to be archival. Great for taking photos, but once that's done, I wouldn't sell it because it's not archival. So those are things to be aware of. Art of Vindy said, try vodka. You might sleep. Maybe it would take, I don't drink well, or I don't sleep well if I've had very much alcohol. I usually have a glass of wine a night, and that helps me. Like, I can fall asleep. I can't stay asleep is my problem. I wake up within an hour or so, and my brain is like, this one kind of made me laugh. I'm like, wow, this was one of the more random panics ever. I was doing laundry last night, and then I finished everything. I had washed one of my art shirts. Like, it's something that I got two painted, so it doesn't really matter one way or another. I was sleeping. I woke up and it just hit me. Oh my gosh, did that shrink? What? Why does that matter right now? Like, my brain is just being a jerk lately. All I can think of is it's me being stressed about my dog, but yeah, it's like, it's been going on for a few weeks and it's just getting really bad. Senia said, do you already have it in your head? What topic are you going to talk about next Wednesday night? I don't know for sure. Could be this. It might be this. I would say if I had to guess, it would probably be continuing on this painting. No promises though. Let's see. DJ said, mods and all you lovely artists, take care, hugs and night, and make sure you check out our Moderators channel. Thank them for helping. They really do so much for me. Their links are in the video description. Nick, we'll start with Nick first this time. Valerie and Joseph Fincham, they are all linked there. They've got really cool channels. Danielle said, you're not alone. For the past 3 months, I've not slept more than 2 hours per night. Lots of work completed though. And it's bad because I'll lay in bed. I'm just not sleeping. I'm just laying there like randomly. I'm going to worry about this. And then I'm going to stress about this. Things that like, if a shirt shrunk. What? That isn't, how? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, Rich says he plays trumpet. That's cool. Let's see. Ursi says, maybe you play a violin clip of yourself playing at the end of your show. Yeah, not live. I'm so out of practice. That would be a horrible sound. And I'm also up against my neighbors. I don't think they would like in the studio me playing violin in here. I actually wanted to do some, I need to practice a bit. I'm super out of practice. I need like a week to practice. But I want to do some Instagram stories of like quick violin clips. So I will be doing that soon. I tried it the other night and it was actually more that I couldn't get my camera angle because the phone I was recording on. I have to figure out how I want to record it so that the audio is decent. Let's see. Daniel said, just wanted to say, love your work, Lise. Thank you. Especially the older ones from for Derwent. Them are when I started watching your work. Then for the Inktense line. Thank you. Susan said, have you tried the 4-7-8 breathe method for getting to sleep? It may take a while, but it's awesome. There's such a lot of research on it. Also, tongue position. I'll have to look at it. See, I fall asleep. I just don't stay asleep. I'll wake up, and even if I fall back asleep, I'm just going to wake right back up. Like my brain, and that's been a problem for me before anyway. I don't maintain, I don't maintain REM sleep. I forget what the technical thing is. I don't maintain whatever that makes you feel rested. I always wake up more tired than when I went to sleep, but it's, yeah, worse now. So no, I have not. I'll have to look into that. What am I wearing? A clown. What am I wearing? Thumbs down. Keela, you're a jerk. What is wrong with you? Clothes. Does it matter more than that? Okay. Let's see. Tired Lisa has no filter. Tired Lisa will tell you you're being a dick. Let's see. Stalin says a lot of extra potassium will help you sleep if you're getting up because of potty breaks. I am not. I'm just waking up and deciding to randomly stress, wondering if a shirt that I don't care about shrunk. But it's so random. Lori said, do you do many parrots? I could send a lot of photos to you if so. Yeah, I could definitely use more photos of parrots. I love painting and drawing parrots. Tamara said, deep breathing meditation helps me tremendously when my brain won't quiet down. I'm going to have to look into that. That might, I'm getting desperate. I'm going to actually, you know what? Let's just write that down so I remember, because a couple of you have recommended it now. Deep breathing. I'm sure there's, oops, phone. Stop it. Stop it, phone. You're being silly. Why are you being silly? Come on. Okay, there. I have it saved. I need to look that up and see if that helps. Either that or by stock in NyQuil. Let's see. Michelle said, I don't do the REM sleep either. Writing things down as a to-do list for the next day helps. Yeah, I definitely found that helped. I did that the other day because I kept thinking of all these things I forgot to do, like Patreon reference photos. How I completely forgot to upload those. But forgetting, like, I made a list. It was a long list, but that definitely helped. But I still woke up and, yeah. Even silly things like shirt shrinking. Susan said the 4-7-8 technique will help you get into a deeper sleep sooner, and if you wake, do another session. It takes less than a minute. I'm definitely going to look into that. Thanks, guys. That's encouraging. I mean, it's not going to hurt if I try it, so I will definitely look into that. Magnesium helps with sleep too. Yeah, I take that. It actually helps with pain for my back as well, but because of other problems, the doctor recommended I held off on magnesium right now. Although I probably could start now. I'm probably okay. That may be a good thing to look into. But yeah, I used to take that a lot for my back, and then I had, what is it, plantar fasciitis or whatever for like a year or two when I first moved here. Apparently walking around barefooted on hardwood floors, I wasn't used to it, the hardness, and I started ending up with problems until I started wearing flip-flops around the house. But that really made a difference. Gail said, thanks, Lizzie said, good night, everybody. Nick said, I fall asleep with no problem, then wake up a few hours later and become stereotypical old man wandering around the house at 3 a.m. Are you like getting cleaning done or anything that makes it of like value to be awake at 3 a.m.? That's funny. Fem said, next time you wake up, you can start addressing postcards. Oh, just kidding. Get some rest. No, oh, postcards are done. They're sitting right there, except I ran out of international stamps. That was on my list of things I forgot to order too. I was done. And that's part of why I think I forgot to order the stamps. Because I was like, okay, postcards are done. I put them to the side. It's out of my mind. But they're all labeled. They've been stamped and sitting here for like 2 weeks. They're right there. They're done. It's not going to take me any time once those stamps. But I ordered them last night. So within the next couple of days, hopefully those will be here. And I will have those all shipped. But yeah, I actually got that done. I was excited. Yeah, Fem, you, I think, are my remind me to do things person now. Because apparently I can't do it on my own. Becky said, thank you so much, Lisa. I love your videos. You explain things so well. I've learned so much. This was my first live session. This was really fun. Prayers for your pup. Thank you. And sleep good. Thank you. Tamara said, my favorite is deep breathe in for count of 7, hold for count of 7, out for count of 7, etc. But there are many different rhythms, oxygen, high. I'm going to look into these for sure. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, my dress is very colorful. I call it my clown dress because it's like a patchwork thing, but I can get paint all over it and you would never know because it's so busy. But it's actually a dress. I normally wear it in the summer, but it's cold, so I got a long sleeve shirt under it and I can get paint on it and I don't care. I don't understand why somebody would comment on my clothes in a painting video. Weird. People have issues. Jenny said, thanks for the stream and thanks to the art of Joseph Fincham, Nick, Edgar, and Valerie for moderating. Catch you next week. New puppy is calling. Go give your puppy attention. Let's see. Yeah, it's funny you say that, Nick. My father-in-law, we'll wrap this up, but my father-in-law, he's one, he doesn't sleep. Like, he'll go to bed at like 2 in the morning and he's back up at 5 in the morning. And we lived with them for a while. And I mean, he just doesn't stay asleep. He's always up, always fussing around with something, or like him not sleeping kind of makes everyone else not sleep too. But yeah, he's like that. He just does not stay asleep at all. Part of it, he has a really bad back, so it hurts him to stay sleeping or laying down too long, but yeah. Yeah, Pam, you were so right. Pam says you're going to be up all night researching the deep breathing. I know, now this is going to be what keeps me awake. I'm definitely excited to look into this, so we'll see. Best One is by Dr. Andrew Wheel. He explains it and lives by it, but I think this won't let me post. Sorry, going to stop going. I'm going to let you post. Daniel says, if you take pain meds of any kind for your spine issues, they are bad for insomnia, period, because pain meds are actually a form of sedative that makes your body want to stay awake. No, I don't take pain medication at all. The most I take is ibuprofen, and I try not to do that often because I've caused problems with my kidney. Back in this summer, I started walking like a crazy amount with, and it was super, super hot at the time. Turns out that can cause kidney damage, which is, how old am I that walking caused kidney damage? Like, really? But, so yeah, I try to avoid much of anything that might be harsh on the kidney. So in my case, the ibuprofen was all I took for painkillers. So I don't take any painkillers for that. The CBD oil helps with the pain. So that really helps. And CBD oil used to be the thing that kept me sleeping. But as of a few weeks ago, it's just like, nope, no more. You don't get to sleep anymore. Yeah, okay, I guess we can wrap up. So thank you guys so much for joining. And yeah, I'm almost certain this is what we're going to be working on next week. I know in the next couple weeks, we've got to do some more critiques that you guys had submitted over on our Facebook group or in our Facebook group. Grammar's just out the window tonight. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining.